Garbage Time.
Cool.
Katie will give her take on the week's top stories and host celebrity guests. Garbage Time airs Sunday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, only on Fox Sports 1.
Coming down the stretch here, Harbin, Papenga, and Foregrave. I want to thank the guys. Michael O'Sullivan, a man that you say does not look like his voice.
No way. That guy looks like he's about, 15?
Yes.
14? Man, I may even go down to like middle school, but lo and behold, he opens his mouth, starts talking. You're like, what the? Is this guy like 75? Wait, it's like he swallowed a 75-year-old. Unbelievable.
How about John Ramos jumping in today? Good to see you, John
Ramos. Tú eres en Hispanohablante, right?
And, of course, our executive producer,
okay.
Greg Bergman, had an adventure getting here today, but he got here.
Yeah, he came walking in. His hands were all oiled up. His face is all dirty. Apparently, his car broke down. He tried fixing it himself, but nope.
Didn't happen.
Apparently, he'll be coming to work on his bicycle now for the next
or he'll be jogging in, man, and he'll just have
Never
that nice
a great
little
idea
sweat.
in Los Angeles, California, to come to work on your bicycle.
Why's that?
Because you get run over by cars that are angry and going 80 miles an hour.
That's a true statement, by the way.
And notice that no one really honors those bike lanes.
No.
You know, the cars just all right, well, we got a heck of a game going, guys. Right now, Wisconsin, Arizona was down 10-2 early. Now Arizona's down 24-22.
Are you kidding me?
Sean Miller
This is the biggest flop I've ever seen in my life. I can't take it. Are you serious? Oh, my goodness.
Brady's losing his mind.
Oh, my
Brady's
God.
losing his mind.
I'm going nuts. Kaminsky pulled the biggest acting job. Sean Miller right now is about ready to blow his mind.
Sean Miller, by the way, has a terrifying, I'm going to blow my mind
I just broke my
face.
pen because that's just embarrassing to humanity that the refs would even call such a disgraceful, despicable flop. And that's not basketball.
And yet we'll see 4 more before this game is done.
I can't believe it.
Again,
I can't
though,
believe it. I'm just
Kaminsky,
shocked.
you're taught to do that. They're masters at it.
You know
He
what?
actually he had his feet set. It was probably the right call if you're by the book.
It looked away because he acted so well. But if you went and put a sensor on Kaminsky's chest to really measure the amount of force that was put on him, it would probably measure at 0. None.
0.
There wouldn't any.
0.
There was no force.
That is an incredible acting job.
Yeah, there was. I would say that. I mean, it looked that way from my perspective in slow motion.
It really has less to
that's
do about the acting. His acting was over the top, which is why you're so upset.
It's just
But
pure
Reed,
acting.
it's more about where he is positioned, whether or not they're going to call that as a block or a charge.
Yeah, and we were talking earlier about rule changes that need to happen in college basketball, and moving that circle out is key, because taking charges under the basket, and that one was probably far out enough that it should have. It
was out far enough, but the problem is the guy flopped. You know, in the NBA, they have a system where they can fine you if they feel like you're flopping too much and creating too much of an acting job. I don't know how you'd be able to pull that off in the college rank. Maybe take away somebody's food, I don't know, for a week. But you got to figure something out. That's embarrassing to humanity.
All right, take away the food, man. I'm with you.
I don't
That's
know.
a great
I
idea.
mean, yeah, just say, okay, you usually get $100 a week for your food stipend. We'll give you 80.
You're going to Taco Bell, Frank Kaminsky.
Exactly. Or we'll give you some rice and beans to compensate for the lack of funds. I don't know.
No foul there? Look at that shove. All right. By the way, Arizona briefly took their first lead of the game, 25-24. Wisconsin, Kaminsky, after a slow start, is heating up right now. He's already got 13 points in this game. Remember, last year, 28 points in the overtime victory for Wisconsin over Arizona. And yes, the West Regional Final. So this is, again, where you got your All-American, your first-team All-American, Frank Kaminsky. Whoever this guy is, whoever your star, he's got to deliver in these kind of games. And you get a sense with Kaminsky, who, by the way, has already taken 13 shots in this game.
He's tried to take it on himself.
That's a lot of field goal attempts.
Well, we got to remember what happened 2 days ago. He had what I would call a pedestrian game. I know he still scored 19 points. And it's weird to call that pedestrian, but he did not dominate. And Sam Decker stepped up probably more than he has his entire career at Wisconsin.
But is this a danger right now? I mean, I'm looking right now at shot attempts for the Arizona guys, and it's basically everyone's the same. Right now, Kaminsky's trying to do it himself.
No, because the way Wisconsin plays basketball,
out.
that's not going to last. They're a team that shares the ball. He's a player who shares the ball. Remember, he leads this team in assists as well as rebounds and points. So that's not something. I mean, clearly it's part of the game plan. Give it to Frank and see what he can do. See if he can replicate last year. But this is a very well-balanced basketball team.
After a very slow start, Arizona is shooting 50% right now, whereas Wisconsin is below 39%.
And that's because they're starting to pound it inside. They were settling at first for those outside jumpers, which I said always are going to be there. And then lo and behold, they look back up there after a timeout. So Sean Miller was in their grill saying, guys, what are we doing? Go attack. And that's what happened. They all of a sudden went on attack. They were getting those higher percentage shots that ultimately lead to higher percentage field goal, making shots.
Buckets, baby. Yeah, it's buckets. It's all about the buckets.
Exactly. It's just simple math. But it like you said, and you mentioned it actually off air, Steve, that a lot of times you come out in these games, especially having come off a really disappointing loss the year previous, and roughly the same situation. Talk about Arizona, and lo and behold, you're a little tight. You're overthinking a little bit. Oh, you get a nice outside shot, and you're like, oh, I better take this, and you're not realizing that in fact you're really not putting your team in the best position to win. And so it takes a good coach to just remind the guys, like, hey, we got to go on the attack instead of just settling, because those shots will always be there.
All right, now, Reed, I want to get to you on the second game today, Notre Dame and Kentucky. You came in basically saying there's no way, no chance, no how. So if I were to set the bar at a 15-point victory with Kentucky, is it going to get uglier than that?
The spread's 11.5. So Vegas would say if you're given 15, take Notre Dame. But I think it's going to be more than that. I mean, look, Notre Dame could get really, really hot from three. They're capable of that. They're a great scoring team. I think this game has a potential to be a bloodbath, 20, 25 points.
Going back to their narrowest victory, which was the LSU game, where LSU had a chance to win the game. They had the ball with a chance to win the game. What did they do? What happened in that game where Kentucky got that close to losing?
LSU just pulled an LSU, and they had a shot to win it, and they got just an absolutely terrible shot. And frankly, this is, if you're going to have an undefeated season, these things are going to happen. You're going to have some luck. I talked to a bunch of the players from that 1976 Indiana team. That was the last college team to go undefeated. And, they said you got to deal with the pressure. They said you got to have a well-constructed team and a coach who gets in your heads and who melds with you. But when it comes down to it, you need some luck. Indiana had some luck in 76. Kentucky's had a decent amount of luck this year. They've had a lot of close games, probably 5 or 6 that were down to that final minute, and they won them all. And part of it is because they are so deep and they are so talented, but part of them is the dice came up double snake eyes. I don't know dice. Dice came up good. Whatever good. Dice came up.
Awesome. What? Huh? All right. Well, great stuff.
Not a gambler.
It's good that Reed was hanging out. Of course, by the time we get here next week, guys, we're going to have that Final Four set next Saturday. Final Four.
I will tell you guys this though: if Kentucky blows out Notre Dame, I think that works to their demise, and they'll lose the national championship.
Whoa!
We are Fox Sports.
Whether you're building it up or knocking it down, get it done, rent it now. Sunbelt Rentals is here to make your job a little easier. Our knowledgeable staff will help you find the right equipment for any job, big or small. Did you know that Sunbelt Rentals carries heaters, air conditioners, generators, lighting, traffic control, and so much more? So whether you're building it up or knocking it down, we've got the equipment you need. Get it done, rent it now. And right now, for a limited time, you can have it for less. Just by mentioning this ad, if you rent it Friday afternoon, you can keep it the whole weekend and only pay for one day. And this is a limited time offer, so stop into Sunbelt Rentals today, Northwest 27th, just a quarter mile east of I-75. For more information, just give us a call, 352-369-9101. 352-369-9101. Sunbelt Rentals. Get it done, rent it now. 352-369-9101.
They say diamonds are always a girl's best friend. April is Diamond Month at Goss & Son Jewelers. Check out their Tacori engagement and bridal sets and beautiful diamond anniversary band. Hand-selected by the Goss family, Teddy and Jerry Goss and Cammie McLeod. You can choose these beautiful diamonds just for you or your loved one. Visit Goss & Son Jewelers downtown on the square and let the diamond consultants help you select a one-of-a-kind piece. Goss & Son, downtown for 65 years. Right on the southwestern corner of the square sits one of the finest dining establishments in Florida, Mark's Prime Steakhouse and Seafood Restaurant. Mark's offers big city dining amenities in a charming and small town setting. It's a rare treat to experience both the ambiance and the exquisite cuisine in a friendly atmosphere. Ocala's finest restaurant serves the finest beef, the freshest seafood, premium wines, and naturally fresh vegetables. From valet parking to splendid service, Mark's offers the complete package. Check it out today. Mark's Prime Seafood and Steakhouse Restaurant.
Buried under receipts and confusing tax code? Let Crippen & Company help. They work hard to make the tax preparation process as painless as possible. With offices in Ocala and the Villages, their team is dedicated to helping clients with corporate and personal tax returns, bookkeeping for businesses, and estate planning for the future. Crippen & Company crafts a truly customized experience for each client's needs while alleviating stress and creating a big picture of your overall financial health. Call 352-732-4260 or visit crippencpa.com to get started.
Holidays and memories go hand in hand. Why not make this Easter even more memorable by serving a honey-baked ham and delicious sides and desserts? Yum! Yes, the coconut and lemon cream cakes are back.
Enjoying the family, egg hunts, and just being able to relax without having to spend hours in the kitchen will make your day a memorable one. Pop on over to Honey Baked Ham.
Call and place your holiday order today, 861-0011. That's 861-0011. Honey Baked Ham, behind Best Buy.
Here's a way for you to have some fun and at the same time support Team WOCA The Source in our efforts to raise funds for the Marion County Literacy Council. You can have Robin and I come to your event or somebody else's event. I play accordion, she plays mandolin, and we'll give the oompa surprise to somebody who may not be expecting it. So call us at 732-8000, ask for Robin. 100% of your donation of any amount will go to the Marion County Literacy Council, and it is tax deductible. Call today, 732-8000.
WWOCA,
If you want to avoid getting ripped off and put more money in your pocket, then join me, Clark Howard, every weeknight at 6, right here on WOCA, The Source.
Or call 1-877-TEST-A1C. Brought to you by the American Diabetes Association, Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation International, and the Ad Council.
It's the Ben Maller Show. Right? Ben Maller.
But here's a good radio rumor. With Chuck Pagano not getting a contract extension going into what could be his final year with the Colts. Let's say Indianapolis goes out, they win their usual 10 games or 11 games, they flame out in the first playoff game. Pagano gone. Let's say in college football, a certain Big Ten team does not have a good year, and a certain Big Ten coach says, hey, wait a minute, I made a mistake. What am I doing here in Ann Arbor, Michigan? What's to say that Jim Harbaugh doesn't say, whoa, what was I thinking? That is how a sports talk radio rumor is made.
The Ben Maller Show. Overnights will never be the same.
I couldn't go to sleep. I didn't want to miss anything.
Weeknights, 2 a.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. Pacific.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News Radio, I'm Karen McHugh. Signs that the U.S. may be getting more involved in the escalating fight against Houthi rebels inside Yemen.
There's no real talk of ground troops or an invasion or anything like that, but the U.S. military is saying that they're going to continue to provide intelligence and logistics support, also probably provide some type of aerial refuel for Saudi jets as they continue to launch airstrikes in Yemen.
Fox's Connor Powell in Jerusalem. One of the many after effects of the Germanwings airline crash, those who already have a fear of flying are now more afraid than ever.
Psychologist Dr. Robert Reiner says he gets 3 times as many calls following a plane crash, looking to try his virtual reality treatment.
This is simply forcing people to experience what they're afraid of. Very simple.
Patients learn to control their bodies. It's called biofeedback.
Fox's Brian Yennis. Fox News. We report, you decide.
Flo from Progressive here, making deliveries with Greta, who has her own flower shop.
Greta's great green thumb.
Yep. Greta is saving a bunch of money on her commercial auto insurance with discounts like Safe Driver, Business Experience, and Paid in Full. Right, Greta?
Righty-o.
Righty-roo.
Correct-amundo.
Yes, sirree.
Wait, who are you calling sir?
What? No one. I thought we were doing a thing. No?
Yeah, no.
Discounts to save your business money.
Visit Progressive.com to learn more. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
You've walked through 18 open houses. Your feet hurt and your head is buzzing. Living in a van is starting to sound strangely appealing. But then you hear it. The sound of hope. Of Zillow. You glance at your phone to see a 3-bedroom Craftsman in the right school district. It's perfect, and it just showed up on your phone, like magic. So sign up for mobile alerts, and we'll send you homes that fit your criteria when they hit the market. And to think, you wanted to live in a van. Zillow. Find your way home.
Spelled N-O-E, Greg Bergman. Feverishly at work. The great guest list. We will talk to former Maryland head coach Gary Williams at the bottom of the hour. Charles Davis over at NFL Network. He will join us in hour 2. And also Chris Monner at collegebasketballnews.com. We talked to him last week. He's got everything. He's got all the angles. He's got all the perspective you could want. So we will be heavy college hoops today. I'll tell you what, man. I absolutely love the matchups in the Elite Eight. Right now, Arizona leads Wisconsin at halftime, 33-30. We got a bunch of heavyweight fights on our hands. This is Goliath versus Goliath for the most part. The only exception would be tomorrow when you've got Michigan State, a 7 seed, against Louisville, who's a 4. But, I mean, Sparty, you look at Tom Izzo, it's the 9th time he's taken his team to the Elite Eight. His record speaks for itself. So even though they're a 7 seed, it'd be a bit like last year when you saw Kentucky and UConn, the brand recognition, but they're 7 and 8 seeds. You kind of throw the seeds out the window when you've got the brand recognition and the record that you have with Tom Izzo and Michigan State. And then you got Rick Pitino, who's 12-1 all time in Sweet 16. So you got Goliaths galore. I am a huge fan of Goliaths. When it comes to the NCAA tournament, I'm from South Bend, Indiana. It's my hometown. We used to get together all the time for March Madness. The first couple of real days, that Thursday, that Friday, wall-to-wall games, just a full slate of games. And my friends would call me out because I would be upset if an underdog won. Not ticked, not mad, not frustrated, but I'd be like, I don't know about the next matchup. I was always thinking about the next matchup instead of just being in the moment. I want to paint the picture as if I'm sitting there with a scorned face, my arms folded like this stinks and upset, horrible. I wasn't like that, but partly I'd be like, but what's the next matchup going to be like? So I've always leaned toward chalk. That doesn't mean I hate when the little guys win. I just think that if you look at the Elite Eight this year, Arizona versus Wisconsin, Notre Dame, a 3 seed against Kentucky, Gonzaga against Duke. You got a lot of chalk, and I'm all in favor of it. So it's not to say that if the little guys survive and advance, where it's going to be a bad matchup or it's always going to be a bad game. Sometimes they're better. Sometimes they actually end up being much better games. So I'm not here to say it stinks every single time. I'm not saying that. But if you give me a choice, if you ask me what my preference is, I would say give me the big dogs. Give me Goliath versus Goliath. I'll take that. So the Elite Eight, it reeks of chalk and Goliaths, and I am a huge fan of it. I'm totally fine with it. Rick Barnes is out at Texas, one of the bigger college basketball nuggets of the day. And you'll hear this a lot. You might hear Steve DeSager say it on some of the updates today. And I'm not going to call him out if he does. But you've got to think beyond what the stat tells you. You might hear Steve say that Texas has been to 16 out of 17 tournaments under Rick Barnes. It's a misleading stat. Initially, you think, wow, that's pretty successful. Why are they getting rid of this guy? There are 68 teams that make the NCAA tournament. All right? It's similar to college football teams being bowl eligible. If you hear a college football coach's record. Well, he's taken his team to a bowl game in 16 out of 17 seasons. Okay, what bowl games did he go to? And how did he fare in those bowl games? Did he go to the Shake Weight Bowl? Did he go to the Top Ramen Bowl? Or did he go to a real bowl game? And how did they do when he was there? It's not good enough to just say, well, he was better the tournament 16 of 17 seasons. That's the way it works in college hoops. There are a lot of teams that make it to the big dance. There are a lot of teams that make it to college bowl games in college football. So it matters what you do once you're there. And Rick Barnes at Texas, he made it to the Final Four once, made it to the Elite Eight twice in 17 years. Okay? That's not awesome if you dig a little deeper than 16 out of 17 Big Dance invites, right? Bill Self has owned the Big 12 while being at Kansas. Kansas is just walking through the Big 12. So I'm not sitting here saying Rick Barnes is a bad head coach. He's not. He's pretty good. He's not horrible at all. But to sit here and blast this decision by Texas as if he's the grand poobah of all things college hoops coaches, that's just not the case. I don't have an issue with them trying to move on and trying to get better. They see themselves being better than they are, and I don't think that's an unreasonable thought. This is The No Show, coming to you live from the Geico Fox Sports Radio studios. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote. So I think Daxter Miles Jr. is hurting the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. And for that matter, the rest of the teams that Kentucky will face in the NCAA tournament, provided they get by Notre Dame. And I would have to put my Scooby Snacks on them doing just that. We'll see what happens later today. But Daxter Miles Jr., he's the guy from West Virginia that called out Kentucky and said, yeah, 36-0, it's pretty. They're going to be 36-1. They don't play that hard. And then he proceeded to score no points. So he calls out Kentucky. I think it's bigger than just that game, because you saw Kentucky limit West Virginia to 39 points. Kentucky doubled them up 78-39. West Virginia shot 24% from the field. 24%. So there was some extra motivation there for Kentucky, and they took full advantage of it. Tyler Ulis, he said, we wanted to crush their spirit. Aaron Harrison said that puts a chip on all of our shoulders. So if you think how that applies to today, I don't think the way Kentucky reacted to the things that Daxter Miles Jr. said just evaporate into thin air. You've got people openly questioning Kentucky. And I've seen them this season. You have too. At stages, they've been bored. It's like they're just going through the motions like, oh my gosh. It's almost like the big brother in the driveway playing his little brother. And it's like, goodness, this guy, I've got a foot on this guy. Like, he has no business even thinking he can beat me. And then sometimes you just lose focus. You're a little bit too lax. And then your little brother scores a couple of buckets he shouldn't score on you. It's very similar with Kentucky this year. And what you saw it in the NCAA tournament before the West Virginia game. They weren't sharp against Hampton. They beat that team by, 23? They could have beat them by way more than what they beat West Virginia. They're just bored. They were bored against Cincinnati. They shot 37% from the field. They're just kind of going through the motions. So Kentucky, I've said it before the tournament, I'll say it again. Their biggest challenge is themselves. That's not to say that's their only challenge, because you're seeing Wisconsin and Arizona duke it out. Those teams could give Kentucky a very good game. And Kentucky had been tested in the SEC a couple of times, went to overtime twice. So they're not invincible. And it's not to say that they are so superior to anybody else. It's a complete mismatch. Don't even show up for the game. They've got advantages, significant advantages, but it doesn't go to that extreme. But the point is, they need to lose focus. They need to be off their game for other teams to have a chance. And for Daxter Miles Jr. to say this about Kentucky, I think that Kentucky comes out laser focused against Notre Dame. I don't think that they lose that edge. And they're awake now, But I really think it has a lot to do with a lack of focus that could lead to them losing, and I don't think they have that right now. It's like, what was it the other night? Did you see that 2 Chainz beat Dominique Wilkins in a game of horse? Are you telling me if Dominique Wilkins really wants to win that game and he's focused properly, that old 2 Chainz is beating him in horse? There's no way. There's no way. So if Kentucky is properly focused against Notre Dame, and I believe they will be, I just don't see how they lose. And I think there could be some residual effect of Daxter Miles Jr. talking trash about Kentucky. I don't think that they lose that edge. I don't think they lose that mindset whatsoever. Something else, though, that I saw before getting ready for the show that It's one of these random soccer things I wanted to throw in. But it just blows my mind how this stuff happens in soccer. If you applied this to American sports, if you applied this to the NFL, for instance, listen to this Russian goalkeeper getting hit by a flare. And listen to how the commentator on ESPN3 describes it.
He looks to be out cold. Now, what's happened here? Has he been struck by something? Yes, a firework.
A firework? Are you kidding me? He got hit by a firework, got hit in the back of the head by a flare. And the commentator's just like, oh, somebody asked that fan to cool his jets a little bit. Can you imagine if that's the NFL? And the commentator's like, there's Tony Romo and, it looks like he got hit by a firework right there. What do you know? It's crazy. The commentators would be like, oh my gosh, what the hell just happened? It blows my mind how this is just like an everyday occurrence in soccer sometimes. Maybe this is why we're lacking in the U.S. We got to get some crazy fans that do crazy stuff. My goodness. Blows my mind, man. It's just like a normal, common occurrence in soccer. Got hit by a firework. What do you know? Par for the course, basically. All right, 877-99 on Fox is your phone number, 877-996-6369. Coming up next, you don't have to make your teammates better to make your team better. This is The No Show right here on Fox Sports Radio.
Hey, Arnie Spanier here. If you're in the market for a new car and you want to have an amazing new experience buying it, you need to check out TrueCar. Man, I remember one of my first cars, cherry red convertible, my hair blown in the wind, and the women checking me out. You could find the car just like that, my friends. All you have to do is go to TrueCar. With TrueCar, all you need to do is choose that new car, built it inside and out, and then TrueCar shows you what others paid for it. It's a fun way to buy a car that helps you be sure you never overpay. Once you decide on that car you want, you can connect with TrueCar certified dealers and lock in a guaranteed savings off MSRP, usually over $3,000. Pretty sweet. Again, if you're in the market for a new car and you want to have an amazing new experience buying it, you need to check out TrueCar. Save time, save money, and never overpay. Download the TrueCar app today.
Things aren't the same as they were when Geico started saving people money over 75 years ago. We didn't have reality TV. Back then, it was just reality. The most exciting thing that ever happened was when Jimmy got his head stuck in a gopher hole. And trust me, that's not a show anyone would binge watch. Yep, we didn't have much entertainment, but switching our car insurance to Geico was pretty exciting.
Geico, saving people money on car insurance for over 75 years.
You've walked through 18 open houses. Your feet hurt and your head is buzzing. Living in a van is starting to sound strangely appealing. But then you hear it. The sound of hope. Of Zillow. You glance at your phone to see a 3-bedroom Craftsman in the right school district. It's perfect, and it just showed up on your phone, like magic. So sign up for mobile alerts, and we'll send you homes that fit your criteria when they hit the market. And to think, you wanted to live in a van. Zillow. Find your way home.
Ooh, a xylophone. Sounds dreamy.
Yeah, they don't make them like this anymore, Robin. I'm shipping it to the Musical Historical Society.
And you're packing it like that?
What, this won't work?
Why don't you take it to the Personal Service Center at the corner of Northeast 25th Avenue and 24th Street in Ocala? Just look for the yellow signs.
Great idea. That'll save me a lot of time.
The passing of time.
Personal Service Center makes sending packages easy.
And quick, call 789-6683.
For the Personal Service Center.
My name is Erica Olstein. I'm a doctor of acupuncture and oriental medicine at A Better You Healthcare's Pokin' for the People Community Acupuncture. Join us every Monday at 4 p.m. for a relaxing and therapeutic community acupuncture session with like-minded, health-conscious individuals from our community. Pricing is only $35. Group sessions involve yoga breathing and acupuncture for the benefit of stress, anxiety, and depression. fun. Unwind and start your week off right. If stress is leaving you a mess, you need a checkup from the neck up. When you're feeling blue, come to A Better You. A Better You Healthcare, just behind the Paddock Mall on 27th Avenue. For further details, visit abetteryouhealthcare.com or call 615-5566. Again, that number is 615-5566.
The weather is brought to you by myFWC.com. Safe boating is no accident. Saturday night, it's going to be mainly clear, then turning partly cloudy and cool. Low 46 to 51. Sunday, plenty of sunshine. High 69 to 76 degrees. Sunday night, it's going to be mainly clear and cool. Low 45 to 51. Monday is going to be delightful with plenty of sunshine. High 76 to 80 degrees. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Luis Santamaria.
Hey Ocala, this is Kelly Hart, Executive Editor of Ocala Magazine. Did you know last year Ocala Magazine won more awards in excellence than any other publication in Florida? And this year, Ocala Magazine was named Best Consumer Magazine in the state. Now you can join me every Friday at 10 a.m. on Ocala Magazine Radio, where we bring the pages of Ocala Magazine to life, right here on The Source. Ocala Magazine thanks you for making us number one. And remember, there is only one Ocala Magazine.
Here's what you may have missed on the John Tesh Radio Show.
In a study involving more than 2,000 people, those with slimmer waistlines showed higher cognitive ability than those who were overweight or obese. Our pets improve our character and make us much better people. If your partner's the one who's stressed out, we know that you will be 25% more likely to be affected than a stranger would be. Yeah, be careful because stress is contagious.
Intelligence for your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
Having a problem getting us? iHeartRadio. Download the iHeartRadio app on your smartphone or tablet. Find Live Station. Type in FSR.
We used to write on manual typewriters.
Let me bring this point up again.
FSR. Yeah! Download the app today.
2. Good.
That was so good.
All right, very good. Thank you. Appreciate it. Hang on 1 second.
Listen everywhere.
Listen to me because I'm not wrong.
See?
I can explain.
Isn't that simple?
Yes.
We are Fox Sports. Fox Sports 1. Tonight on Fox Sports 1, Monster Energy Supercross is live from the Edward Jones Dome in St. Louis. Coverage begins at 8 p.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 1.
It is The No Show here on Fox Sports Radio, brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance at geico.com. You can hit us up on Twitter at The No Show. No is spelled N-O-E. So 20 years ago today, it's amazing how fast time flies by. Michael Jordan was scoring 55 points against the New York Knicks in the Garden. And it was only his 5th game back after retiring. So he goes off for 55 points. And, of course, you remember the assist to Bill Wennington at the end. Here's how it sounded on TNT.
Here is Jordan, and a surprise sets up Wennington. 3 seconds to go.
And full disclosure, I am a big Bulls fan. I've always loved the Bulls. Was a big Michael Jordan fan. So, you know, there you go, Lauren Gardner. There it is. It cranks them up here. Yes, let's get into the full Bulls vibe. Is that not... Listen, Greg Bergman, the producer of this show, you can call me a homer if you would like. I don't think I'm homering it up. Is that not the best intro music in professional sports? Is there anything better that's synonymous with the franchise than that with the Bulls?
This is pretty amazing. It's just you hear it and you just start getting pumped up on your own.
Yes.
Great.
And you know it to be with the Bulls. I didn't even know it was Blue Oyster Cult. I had no idea.
Oh, is it really?
That's the Bulls music. Yeah, I had no idea it was Blue Oyster Cult. Yeah. Alan Parsons Project. See, there you go.
Oh, you were wrong, too. I'm not used to you being wrong with these kinds of things, by the way.
I'm sorry about that, Greg. But yes, thank you, Lauren. What was it again? Alan Parsons Project.
Yeah, the Alan Parsons Project.
That's right. I'm sorry. I totally apologize to the Alan Parsons Project, and I take back those props for Blue Oyster Cult that I inappropriately gave them. But anyway... Michael Jordan has this iconic game. And so as a Bulls fan, I'm digging through the archives and reliving some of this stuff. And I stumbled onto this video where Michael Jordan's doing the post-game interview with Craig Sager.
Hey, don't count on me to shoot it every time. I can't pass.
And that's what Michael Jordan said at the end. Craig Sager said, hey, 55 points, but, nice pass at the end.
55 points, but nice assist at the end. Hey, don't count on me to shoot it every time. I can't pass. Okay, back to you, Bob.
So it's a funny moment, but you know what it speaks to? I think that since LeBron James has been in the NBA, it's really changed the narrative on how you think of primarily scorers first. Like scorers like Michael Jordan. He was a score first player on offense. That was not the only facet of his game. Tremendous defensively, but he wasn't an assist guy. LeBron James is. He's both a scorer and a distributor. And so I think since LeBron has come into the league, it's cultivated this opinion of if you're not making your teammates better, then what's the use? And I've never disagreed with something more. Basketball-wise, I'm sure there are times in life I've disagreed with something, more passionately than this. But when people make it out to be like, well, you're just a selfish ball hog as a scorer if your team is losing, it's a complete 180 compared to the same player doing the same thing, having the same game on a winning team. Michael Jordan was fantastic for the Chicago Bulls. He didn't necessarily make his teammates better. As a distributor, he made the Bulls better. Kobe Bryant, better example. Kobe Bryant's, the mainstream opinion of Kobe Bryant varies drastically. Whether the Lakers are winning or losing. When they're winning titles, this guy is an assassin. He is an absolute beast, one of the best of all time. When they're losing, he just doesn't get his teammates involved. He doesn't pass. He's a ball hog. He's the black hole. You give it to Kobe, you never get the ball back. It's the same guy. It's been the same guy the whole time. And I really think what made that opinion louder was LeBron James. And by no means is this bemoaning LeBron. It's to give him props, if anything. The guy does both, speaks to his greatness. But it doesn't mean that non-LeBron players, in terms of style, aren't incredibly valuable for their franchises. You've seen a lot of scorers that are not also distributors. It doesn't mean that they're less valuable. It's just silly. And Michael Jordan's one of the best examples of that. You're not going to see assist numbers jump off the stat sheet, but you're going to see 55 points, 69 points, 6 titles. The success speaks for itself. And, I guess it's kind of a smooth segue. If you go from Michael Jordan to Dean Smith is in the news. I'm sure you've heard about this, where he willed $200 for every Letterman that he coached at North Carolina. So he said, just go out and enjoy a meal on me. It's on me. It's on the dean. From me to you. Enjoy a meal. Awesome, awesome gesture. It approximately cost him $36,000 to do this with 180 Lettermen over the years, throughout his tenure at North Carolina. So you've heard about that story. It turns out this might be an NCAA no-no. The NCAA has a no-pay rule that prevents college athletes from accepting any type of payment that's based on their status as an athlete. So if it's, a decade plus after they played in college, it's still, according to the rules, a no-no. Even well after you graduate, if you're accepting a payment based on your time as a collegiate athlete, the NCAA says, no. All right, now hear me out on this. I don't like siding with the NCAA, and I'm not siding with them here, but you have to understand this. It's not about what's currently happening. It's about what could happen next. All right? So it happens all the time when you look at these, what seem to be very, very petty NCAA rules. And listen, some of them are, but it seems like every single one of them is. It's not just what is happening, it's what they're preventing in the future. So you have to take it to the extreme, because that's what the NCAA is doing. So for a second, just look at it from their point of view and take it to the extreme. If they're basically saying, hey, if we allow this to happen, what's to say that random booster from random school says, hey, you come to this school And once you're out of here, we'll hook you up with fill in the blank. You could have some type of system where you are openly paying athletes after they're done competing for whatever school they go to. It's possible. That's the way they look at it. If there's ever a reason to look the other way on this rule and let one thing happen, it is this Dean Smith gesture. It would be in the NCAA's best interest to say, all right, this is typically the way it works, but in this certain case, we're going to allow an exception. That would be the way to go about it. But I think the tendency is to look at these things at face value and say, oh, gosh, NCAA, here they go again with their stupid rules and their little simple-minded ways of thinking. Listen, you've got to think, how far could it go in other similar instances? And then it makes more sense. I'm not saying it makes all the sense in the world. It makes more sense. That's all. 877-99 on Fox is your phone number, 877-996-6369. I want to introduce the crew before we get to former Maryland coach Gary Williams, who joins us at the bottom of the hour. He is your producer back in L.A. today. Mr. Greg Bergman is on the show. Greg, how you doing, man?
What's happening, Brian?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. It's been a long day, but, doing well.
So I caught this at the tail end of Steve Hartman, Papinga, the guys, Reed was in, that you had some car problems. Is that right?
Yeah. I was driving into work today. Everything was fine. I'm about to get on the freeway, and then all of a sudden, I was not moving anymore. And my car decided that it did not want to move. And now it is dead. It is completely dead, and I have to go get a new car tomorrow or Monday because
really, it's just done.
Oh no, it's
forget
done. It's beyond done. It's over.
Wow. Where were you at? What road were you on?
I was on Laurel Canyon, about to get on the 101 freeway here in California.
Okay, well, it's probably better you weren't on the freeway.
Oh, thank God. I was just about to. I was literally in the lane to make the right onto the freeway.
Oh man,
just brutal.
I'm not BF Goodrich myself, Greg, so I would be just completely out of luck.
I am a pep boy, actually. So
are you? So you know what you're doing?
For the most part, yeah, I do know what I'm doing for the most part, but I tried to get it towed. It was just terrible.
Oh, man, that's rough, terrible. Man. That's rough. But, on the bright side, Notre Dame is in action today.
Hey, that's a big thing for you, yeah.
Right. I thought it would... Not for you. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, no, I got you. Your technical director on the ones and twos, Lauren Gardner. Lauren, what's going on today?
Hey, what's up, Brian?
Are you licking your wounds from the Utes?
Oh God, don't even get me started on that.
I know. I'm listen, I'm not pour salt in the wounds guy, Lauren. I'm not. I try not to be. Every now and then I'll give you a couple of jabs, but I don't mean that in a bad way.
No, they made it to the Sweet 16. That's about all I could hope for with them this year. 5 seed. They looked good. This is the best they've been in a while. I didn't see them getting past Duke, and they didn't. So I'm not too broken up about it. So
okay, all right. So you kind of knew what to expect going in. That makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah, tempered expectations.
Certainly. Yes. Cautious optimism, as I call it.
Yeah, I would recommend you have those same tempered expectations going into the game against Kentucky.
Absolutely. 100%. Very tempered.
The result will probably be very similar, although actually the scoreline might not be nearly as close.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes. And on the updates, Mr. Steve DeSager
Good evening,
is out there in LA. How you doing, Steve?
Doing well. And, we have your Notre Dame starting up in the Midwest Final, and we have the man after you, Arnie Spanier, his Arizona Wildcats, in the West Final. It is quite a day for the hosts here. Arizona, by the way, until a minute ago, was shooting 50% from the floor and trailing 41-34 to Wisconsin. They're down 44-36, and Stanley Johnson, freshman of the year in the Pac-12, has left as teammate poked him in the eye early second half.
My goodness, you could have a couple of disgruntled hosts today. I think I'm going to be disgruntled. I don't know about Arnie. Arnie's got a better shot than me, for sure.
Arnie, you probably couldn't tell whether he was disgruntled or not because of his team.
When he's happy, he sounds angry. Yeah, that's good, Steve. Coming up, we've got Gary Williams, former Maryland head coach, joins us in just a couple of minutes. But first, let's find out what's trending.
Updating the game, Wisconsin, the top seed in the West region, is leading with 16:18 to go, 44-37 now over the Arizona Wildcats. Frank Kaminsky, 21 points for the Badgers. Coming up next, number 1 ranked Kentucky against 3-seed Notre Dame in the Midwest final. The number 1 ranked Connecticut women's team beat Texas today, 105-54. UConn's won by at least 45 points in 22 different games now this season. By the way, Texas will reportedly fired men's head basketball coach Rick Barnes. In the NBA, Atlanta's at Charlotte. The Hawks are resting their starters after clinching the top seed in the East last night. Joey Logano won today's trucks race at Martinsville. Kyle Larson fainted during an autograph session, was taken to the hospital. NASCAR's Cup race will be on Fox Sports 1 tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And finally, to golf, Jimmy Walker leads the Texas Open by 4 strokes over Jordan Spieth. Phil Mickelson tied for 12th at even par, 9 back. I'm Steve DeSager.
We are Fox Sports.
This is
The One is on
Fox Sports 1.
I know you want me, you know I want you.
America's new sports network.
Go to foxsports1.com to find the channel number for Fox Sports 1 in your area.
It is the No Show, coming to you live from the Geico Fox Sports Radio studios. It's easy to save 15% or more on car insurance with Geico. Go to geico.com or call 800-947-AUTO. The only hard part, figuring out which way is easier. Want to jump right out to the Progressive Insurance Celebrity Hotline. Former Maryland head coach Gary Williams joins us. Welcome to the show, Coach. First off, Rick Barnes is out at Texas. Do you disagree with that decision?
Yes, I do. He was a great coach. Rick and I worked together at Ohio State for a year. And I think he went to 16 out of 17 NCAA tournaments while at Texas. And, you know, I think he did a very good job down there. Obviously, you know, it's what have you done lately? And it's a shame, but I'm sure Rick will be back in it really quick. And he'd make a very good coach for a lot of the universities.
You know, I'm sure you've heard about the West Virginia player Daxter Miles Jr., who called out Kentucky and said, hey, they're going to be 36-1. They don't play that hard. As a coach, would you use things like that to pump up your team when you were coaching?
Well, I tried not to. I would tell our players if we were involved with something like that, you know, if the guy on the other team says something, that's fine, because we should be ready to play. In other words, because he says that, why should that make us more ready to play? If we're a good team, like Kentucky is, obviously, you know, that I don't know how much that affected Kentucky, because they were going to come out and play really well that game, no matter what. So I was never big on that. I think if it's your team and the guy says something, you don't like it because, you know, it's kind of distracting to your team. I think that distracted West Virginia more than it motivated Kentucky.
Would you ever stress it to your guys, or where you think that maybe just the way basketball is, if it were football or something a little bit more emotionally driven in terms that can help the execution, do you think you would mention it more in that vein?
No, not really. I just think that it's it all depends on the team, how it affects the team. And like I said, it can affect your team if it's one of your players that does it as much as it affects the other team. So I just rather not do it. I never liked that if our guys would say anything either before or after a game, because, you know, there's a tendency to, you know, start thinking about those things instead of really focusing on the game. When you're playing Kentucky, you got enough to worry about just getting ready for that game.
Talking to former Maryland head coach Gary Williams here on the No Show. Coach, you look at John Calipari, and he's got a ton of talent to work with. He's got all kinds of McDonald's All-Americans. But do you think that we've overlooked some of the challenges that he's done a great job with in terms of managing minutes and egos and all of those things this year? Do we underestimate the job that he's done?
Well, I think a lot of people appreciate the job because he has obviously great talent, and talent probably from 1 to 10, but he's convinced those guys that the most important thing is to win the championship. It's not about how many points you score per game, and you can see it. You know, guys who were McDonald's All-American are getting, 7, 8 points a game sometimes, and that doesn't seem to bother anybody. They're just committed to take this season through and try to go undefeated and win a national championship. So, and the other thing is they play great defense. sometimes there's a tendency to go into a game, you're a big favorite, and you don't really work that hard defensively. But the times I've seen Kentucky this year, they work hard all the time. And I think part of it is they really push each other in practice. When you have that type of depth in practice, you can get better every day. And I think that's what Kentucky's done with their defense.
If you look at Kentucky from the height and the depth that you just mentioned, two huge advantages, if you could take one away as a coach, which would you take away?
Well, the way the game's played today, college basketball, there's, the timeouts, the media timeouts, and in the NCAA tournament, they're 3 minutes and 20-minute halftime, and plus the coaches have their timeouts. So I think depth, if you look at Duke, for example, I think Duke has 8 scholarship players right now, but their depth doesn't seem to bother them because Duke's first 5 is really talented also. And so I think you can get away with not having the depth, and I take the size. As long as they had the skill that Kentucky size has, I'd take that type of size. When we won it in 2002, we probably were as big as any team in the country, and that certainly helped us.
Coach, if you look beyond Kentucky, who do you think has the best chance at beating them?
Well, I look at who's playing well right now, and I think Duke is playing very well, and with Okafor in there, obviously they're big enough to, at least compete with Kentucky. And all the teams that are left, that I look at the size of an Arizona or Wisconsin, that certainly helps them if whichever one of them moves on. And of course, you look at Gonzaga; they've got the depth to rotate in there a little bit when Kentucky makes a subs in size. So I think any of the teams that have that type of size would be the best one if you thought somebody could beat Kentucky. But once again, somebody's got to really step up and play well to make that happen.
Last one for you, Coach. You retired in 2011, and like you mentioned with Rick Barnes, this isn't the end for him. He'll be back in coaching, but you think about Jim Boeheim, who says he'll walk away in 3 years. The first year you were not on a college basketball sideline, what was that like for you?
It was hard. You do it I did it for 44 years, all told, and that's you get into a routine with your life. Practice starts a certain time, games start, recruiting periods, all that is basically there for you every year. And then all of a sudden you have to create the action. You have to do it. And, I don't think there's anything that can replace some of the games we had, like against Duke in North Carolina and Maryland. You can't replace that. There's nothing out there like that feeling of walking on the court in those situations. Plus, you miss the interaction with your players, the practice when you're trying to get better and things like that. So there's a lot of things you miss, but at the same time, I was very fortunate to have really good jobs and get a chance to work with some great people.
Hey, Coach, appreciate the time. Enjoy the rest of the tournament, all right?
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. That's Gary Williams, former Maryland head coach, national championship head coach, joined us here on the Progressive Insurance Celebrity Hotline. Some good stuff there. I agree with him, by the way. I think that if you look at the depth of Kentucky, and it's really good depth, it's not just bodies thrown in there to eat up minutes. You've got first-round draft picks on the bench. You've got NBA players on the bench. That's a huge advantage, but I really think their great height is a bigger advantage. When you're looking at the ripple effect of that, with the racing shots, protecting the rim, getting fouled on offense, when you've got guys that are playing volleyball at the rim and have the ball in the paint, high percentage areas, those guys will get hacked and go to the free throw line. I think their size is a bigger advantage, and you'll see it today. Notre Dame against Wichita State, a lot of baskets finishing at the rim. You're not going to see that against Kentucky, so they work hand in hand, depth and height. But I would actually think that the height is a bigger advantage for Kentucky. We'll see if it's on display today. I would venture to guess it will be. Coming up next, the downside of something that adds a ton of intrigue to games. Tell you about that. This is The No Show right here on Fox Sports Radio.
Fox Sports Radio. We're so grateful to you, the fan.
Hi, this is Jason Smith. Thank you.
And we just want to say thank you.
Thank you for being such a fan.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks for taking us to your home.
Hi, this is JT the Brick. Thank you.
And especially to your car and office.
Hey, I want to let y'all know.
Hey, Steve Gorman here. When the temperatures start to rise, stop by your neighborhood O'Reilly Auto Parts store. From washes to waxes to replacement parts like brake pads and shocks, O'Reilly Auto Parts has the part you need at guaranteed low prices. So get your vehicle in shape for the warmer months ahead and visit O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. Find an O'Reilly Auto Parts store near you and learn more by going to O'ReillyAuto.com. That's O'ReillyAuto.com. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
I'm Jay Farner with some great news on how you could save an average of $3,000 per year on your mortgage. Call Quicken Loans now at 800-QUICKEN to see if you qualify for the government's Home Affordable Refinance Program, or HARP. The HARP guidelines have changed. There's less paperwork and often no appraisal required. Call 800-QUICKEN. That's 800-QUICKEN, or visit QuickenLoans.com.
Important terms and conditions apply. Call us for cost information. Equal housing lender. Licensed all 50 states. And MLS number 3030.
Get it for less at the DIY Home Center outlet. Get top quality real wood cabinets the same or less than the big box stores are selling the cheap stuff. And that's not all. Drywall screws big box stores are $6.47 a pound. At DIY only $4.99. Plus DIY has the largest selection of mobile home parts and accessories anywhere. From carpet to doors, get the DIY supplies you need for less. The DIY Home Center outlet. We are your building material closeout store. 2191 Northwest 10th Street, just 2 miles east of I-75.
On Mondays, AM Ocala Live, Bern Paresa will be in the studio with Robin and I. She's the president and CEO of Good for All. She's coming in to speak to us about health providers in Marion County.
News Bites, the hottest news and current events are bite-sized.
And then Valerie Diamond is coming on. She spent 7 years as an exotic dancer in Las Vegas. And Robin, she's going to tell me what it's like.
Ooh.
She's got a book. It's called Stilettos in Vegas.
Have all of your vehicle questions answered by Matt Gibbs on Auto Repair with Personal Care.
And then Robert Butner is coming on. He's an attorney in U.S. federal courts, and he's written a book called Balance Point. It is a thriller.
MJ Rose is a New York Times best-selling author. She'll be speaking about her new novel, The Witch of Painted Sorrows.
Dr. Louis J. DeGennaro is coming on. He's the president and CEO of the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, speaking about the new Ken Burns documentary, Cancer. All of that plus Fun with Joe on Mondays, AM Ocala Live, right here on The Source, WOCA 96.3 FM.
1370 AM.
Hey, I'm Gary. And I'm Eric. Did you know that Red Eye Radio is on WOCA The Source every night from 2 to 6 a.m. and it's live?
That's right. No tape shows here.
We know that the news doesn't sleep.
And neither do we. So we're here with you live from 2 till 6 a.m. every weekday. Call us 866-90-RED-EYE. So join me, Gary McNamara.
And me, Eric Harley, every weeknight to discuss the latest in news and entertainment.
Right here on WOCA The Source.
Hey, Matt, I know Sunrise Automotive does auto stuff, but I need some tires for my truck. Can you recommend someone?
Yes, I can. We do that.
No, I mean, I need them installed and balanced and all that.
Yep, we do that.
Well, my son needed his windows tinted.
Yep, we do that.
I need my seat replaced.
Yep, we do that too.
I need a new roof line and a new spoiler and a new truck.
We can even do that too.
Okay, I get it. I suppose you can also do a radio show too, huh?
Well, as a matter of fact, join me every Monday at 10 for Auto Repair with Personal Care here on The Source.
Of course you do.
Good credits, bad credits. It's none of our business because we're not an auto dealer. We're not a bank. We're not your mother. We're OcalaForSale.com. Marion County's marketplace for cars, trucks, and SUVs. We've got thousands of sellers standing by to take your call. No middleman. But hurry, don't walk, don't run. Just sit down and log on to OcalaForSale.com. Prices and inventory change daily. Offer does not include dealer upcharge. Undercutting, rust-proofing, factory surcharge, or delivery fee. See website for details.
Do you have areas that have started sagging or drooping? Is what you're looking at not quite the same as it was years ago? Are there enhancements you've been putting off? Is there serious damage you need fixed? Then call on us, Damage Control Services. When your roof is sagging and the drywall is drooping after a storm, or your home just needs some enhancements, from damage repairs to new construction, Damage Control Services is here to help.
Hi, I'm Leah Caruso with Strive Rehabilitation, inviting you to join me Thursday at 11 a.m. for Health Matters. Ocala Health and Strive have teamed up to bring you the latest information on good health services available to you right here at home. This vital information will help you make informed decisions about your health. So don't forget to join me here at 11 a.m. Thursday. It's news you can use from Ocala Health, Strive, and your friends here at WOCA.
miss your favorite show?
That's bad. That's really bad.
Relax. There's no need to go crazy.
Are you mental? That was a definite crazy one right there.
Just podcast it. It's real easy.
This is a simple solution.
Go to foxsportsradio.com. foxsportsradio.com. Click listen. Listen. Then click podcast.
Everything neatly falls into place.
All of your favorite shows are just a click away. We are Fox Sports.
They are high-fiving on pit road.
Tomorrow, the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series is live from Martinsville and only on Fox Sports 1. Race day gets the day started at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. And race action begins live at 1 p.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 1.
It is the No Show right here on Fox Sports Radio. I'm Brian No. You know, it's interesting to me because sometimes something that works for a sport works against it. I think that if you look at the brackets for the NCAA tournament, it works for the sport. It really gets you invested heavily at the beginning, but as the tournament plays out and your bracket gets more and more and more busted, your interest, it goes downhill slightly. Not to the point where you don't watch, but it goes downhill. And I think that there is an evil, or a downside, I should say, with sports gambling, where I think that really helps sports. It helps the NFL, it helps college basketball. These games right now, they're being bet on left and right. And the downside of it is you get the conspiracy theories. Now, you saw it last night with Duke, Utah. It's a 5-point game. Depending on how you got the line, you know, it might have gone down to as little as 4.5. So it depends on when you jumped on Duke and what line you got. But there are a lot of bettors that had it at -5. So it's a 5-point game at the very end. Duke does get fouled with 0.7 seconds to go. And the teams are like, the hell with it. They're just walking off the court like, it's done anyway. And the refs are like, no, there's a foul. You shoot free throws. So Quinn Cook hit one free throw, and Duke covered the spread. So I started thinking about this. With gambling in sports being less and less taboo, it used to be one of these things that was rarely mentioned. Now, you've got gambling insiders on sports talk radio shows. They're on sports television. They'll mention lines, point spreads. Adam Silver, NBA commissioner, he's got progressive thoughts on how to incorporate gambling into sports. It's just different now. It's less and less taboo. And I think the more it's going to be talked about, the more you're going to have to put up with these ridiculous conspiracy theories. And you hear the most of them with the NBA. That's the lion's share of the crazy conspiracy theories, was when it comes to the NBA playoffs. And when it's a point spread that people are more aware of going forward, and there's something that's a little peculiar that happens at the end, and oh my gosh, it's just going to be open season on these whack job conspiracy theories. It's not to say that every one of them is a ridiculous conspiracy. Sometimes they're actually true, but more times than not, overwhelmingly, the tinfoil on the head guy, like, oh my gosh, everything's fixed and everything's a conspiracy. Yeah, a lot of times they're just really, really bad opinions. Really bad. So I'm not anti-gambling by any stretch. I'm just anti-wacky conspiracy theories. And I'm telling you, the more and more that gambling is incorporated into sports, and it's not one of these hush-hush things. I mean, pretty soon they're not even going to say the common line, which is for entertainment purposes only. They always say that when they mention the point spreads. Pretty soon it's going to be like, if you're throwing cash on one of these games, here are the lines. It's going to be like that soon. So what comes with that? Yes, the extra intrigue, but also the conspiracy theories of, oh, it's fixed, and oh, the league wanted this team to win, and they didn't want that point spread to get covered, and blah, blah, blah. It's going to turn into that, man. It's one of the downsides of something that does make sports a lot more interesting, even if you aren't gambling on it. Now, there are times where I'll just know the point spread without having any money on any game, and it makes it more interesting knowing there are a lot of people that might have a heavy sum of money on a game, and you put yourself in those shoes like, oh, that would be brutal if I lost a game like that. So it's going to happen. And while we're talking about point spreads, Kentucky, the odds to win the tournament, they're at -20 right now. Minus 120 for Kentucky to win the whole thing. I think we got to put some scoobs on this, Greg Berman. I think we need heavy Scooby Snacks on Kentucky. Now, I can't do it today, and the Scooby Snacks, the odds are going to change because I can't bet against them when they're playing Notre Dame. It's my hometown. I can't do that. But if you were inclined to bet on a team in March Madness, Kentucky at minus 120, not bad. Not bad.
No, that's not bad at all. And you should just hedge your bet, Brian. Just hedge it a little bit. This way, if they end up losing, you still make a little bit of money.
I can't.
And if they win, they win.
Yeah, I can't. I just can't.
I know. I would never be able to bet against UCLA, so there's no chance.
Yeah. It's just there's something that should be like wrong with you in your guts. You should get this queasy, horrible, like, what have I done feeling?
Yes, exactly. But if there everybody's coming out saying, they're going to get upset either by Wisconsin or Arizona or somebody on the other side of the bracket. It doesn't matter. As soon as they make it to the Final Four, they are not losing. They will not lose either one of those games. It's not going to happen. We can all just stop watching now.
Yeah, well, you might be correct, Greg, but the competition that they'll face in the Final Four, assuming they get by the Irish today, by the way.
Of course.
It's going to be tougher. Arizona or Wisconsin, which would be the next game, that's a tougher test than Notre Dame. Those are better basketball teams. So I wouldn't say it's, game, set, match. No doubt they can't lose. I wouldn't go that far, but I think the odds are well in their favor that they will win.
There's just so many things that are great about them. They have an amazing defense. Their 3-point defense is amazing too. They have, and then if their offense is struggling, they bring in a second 5 of McDonald's All-Americans. It doesn't matter. There's if 5 guys are not doing well, they have another set of 5 that they're ready to just say, okay, try these guys on for size.
I know, man. They have a ton of talent. There's no disputing that. Let me go out to the phones here real fast. 877-99 on Fox is your phone number. Paul is out there in Houston. You go ahead, Paul. You're on the No Show here on Fox Sports Radio.
Good evening, Brian. How are you, my friend?
Good, Paul. How you doing?
Great, Brian. I want to thank you guys. Being legally blind, I listen to you all day, and it's not a mystery to realize that Wichita beat Kansas, and then Notre Dame, you guys come in and dust them by 13 points. And as predicted, tonight's the first real test with Notre Dame, Brian, with that number one offense and its defense. What do you think's going to happen? You think Kentucky can take them by not 2 points, but just by too many angles of attack?
Listen, for absolutely, Paul. And I'm sorry, I screwed up his town. He's in Boston. I apologize for that. My eyesight isn't as good as it used to be. I'm 37 years old, and I make it out to be failing. It's not as bad as I make it out to be, but I'm getting older, man. I realized last week my fly was down twice on consecutive days for no reason. I just looked down like, am I just forgetting to zip up my fly? Go! So I'm dealing with issues here. But as far as his point goes, Kentucky, like Greg's just talking about, they have waves of very good, very tall players. They've got 6 guys over 6'8". Like, they've got NBA height. And for Notre Dame, a team that can finish at the rim as well, a lot of those shots are going to be changed and they're going to be erased. And it's one of these where I wouldn't just look at the stat page and look at the shots that are blocked by Willie Cauley-Stein and Towns and Lyles and all these, tall players. It's the shots that are changed, that are just affected. Where, it's not going to show up on the stat page that Jaren Grant goes up for a layup and he's about to get swatted and then tries to change his shot and then banks it off the top of the glass or something. It's not going to show up, but it's going to impact the game. Tall test, no pun intended, for Notre Dame today. There's no doubt. Coming up next, pay attention to situations, not just stats. It's the No Show here on Fox Sports Radio.
Hi, I'm Seth with AA Lock, Dock, and Security. Have you ever thought about the locks or security on your house or business? Have you ever wondered why the keys to your new car cost so much? Well, at AA Lock, Dock, and Security, we can help with securing your valuables. We can even replace those expensive transponder keys. We can give you the knowledge that no one else will. Call AA Lock, Dock, and Security at 867-1965. That's 867-1965.
Your weekends are getting a little retool.
Swear to God, not making a joke.
Check this out. New shows? Check. We are Some new talent? Check. Let's welcome the guys.
Let's get it going.
Arnie Spanier.
Unbelievable.
TJ Reeves.
This is what you get.
Your weekends are on fire.
Because that's how exotic it is.
Get it for less at the DIY Home Center outlet. Get top quality real wood cabinets the same or less than the big box stores are selling the cheap stuff. And that's not all. Drywall screws big box stores are $6.47 a pound. At DIY, only $4.99. Plus, DIY has the largest selection of mobile home parts and accessories anywhere. From carpet to doors, get the DIY supplies you need for less. The DIY Home Center outlet. We are your building material closeout store. 2191 Northwest 10th Street, just 2 miles east of I-75.
Are you tired of not using your home's outdoor space for entertaining or relaxation because of all the bugs and leaves? Consider adding a beautiful screen room or glass enclosure. We are Superior Aluminum and Design, a family-owned and operated business with 20 years experience in the aluminum industry, and we are accredited by the Better Business Bureau. If you appreciate superior workmanship, call Superior Aluminum and Design at 817-8058 or visit us on the web at superiораluminumdesign.com.
Hospice of Marion County has an urgent need for volunteers to share a conversation with someone, run errands, hold someone's hand. All you need is a willingness to help others. Our volunteers believe the blessings they receive far exceed the services they offer. Will you consider serving, caring, and making a difference? Call today, 873-7441. Hospice of Marion County, making more moments of life possible.
Hi, this is JP from Penn Flooring here in Ocala. I would like to invite you to come in and visit our spacious showroom where we have solutions for every style and budget. From wall-to-wall carpet to hardwood floors and tiles, we have an unsurpassed selection of flooring. At Penn Flooring, we've provided quality customer service with a family touch for over 25 years. Visit our website at pennflooring.com or come by our showroom, 1201 Southwest 17th Street, just over the bridge. Penn Flooring, quality customer service with a family touch.
Hi, Matt Wilkerson here, your mobile Verizon rep. But not just here, I'll deliver the phone to you in your home. While I'm there, I'll only sell you what you need and I'll personalize it to you. Want to have me get you connected? Then call me at 352-528-0020. I even offer unlimited home phone service for just $20 per month. Just call me, your mobile Verizon rep, at 352-528-0020.
One of the most common questions those nearing retirement are asking, will I outlive my money? Retirement questions like these and many more will be answered every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on Planning for a Better and Safer Retirement with hosts Francois and Julian Pozenet. Francois and Julian will help you put your retirement puzzle together. Catch Planning for a Better and Safer Retirement Saturdays at 9 a.m. on Ocala's News Talk, The Source 96.3 FM and 1370 AM.
To you by NeighborWorks America and the Ad Council.
Hey, man! Hey, man! This is J Moore Sports. Hey, man! J Moore Sports.
You guys are my coffee, man.
Roy Williams, how do you feel about this loss?
You know, losing Coach Smith was tough. Losing Ted Seagroves, my best friend in Chapel Hill for the last 12 years. The things that went on, those kids, they cared about me. And when you coach kids, you give them everything you can give them. Today it wasn't enough. But I wouldn't trade my kids for anybody. And Bo's got a great group, and Bo's team won the game. But I wouldn't trade my kids for anybody's.
Roy Williams in tears. I mean, these guys that coach, there are some real guys. There's guys in the NCAA, Dan Byer, that you and I, we won't say it on the air, we just don't like.
Yes.
Head coaches that are just bad guys. We don't like them. And then you get a guy like Roy Williams after a loss, he's crying.
J Moore Sports.
That guy sounds like he's sweating.
Weekdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News Radio, I'm Karen McHugh. Emotional issues may have led co-pilot Andreas Lubitz to deliberately crash a Germanwings airliner into a mountainside in the French Alps.
The only thing that's been officially confirmed from the prosecutors and investigators who have searched his addresses is that there were these torn up sick notes covering the period of the crash. And the French investigator said today the pilot's personality is a serious lead in the case, but it cannot be the only one.
Fox's Amy Kellogg. A new religious freedom law in Indiana that critics say allows businesses to discriminate against gays may affect the upcoming Final Four.
The Final Four is going to be held in Indianapolis next week. With that in mind, the NCAA has released a statement which in part reads, the NCAA National Office and our members are deeply committed to providing an inclusive environment for all our events.
Fox's Will Carr. Governor Mike Pence says if the bill were discriminatory, he wouldn't have signed it. Fox News. We report. You decide.
Flo from Progressive here, making deliveries with Greta, who has her own flower shop. Greta's Great Green Thumb. Yep. Greta is saving a bunch of money on her commercial auto insurance with discounts like Safe Driver, Business Experience, and Paid in Full. Right, Greta?
Righty-o.
Righty-roo.
Correct-amundo.
Yes, sirree.
Wait, who are you calling sir?
What? No one. I thought we were doing a thing. No?
Yeah, no.
Discounts to save your business money. Visit Progressive.com to learn more. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
You've walked through 18 open houses. Your feet hurt and your head is buzzing. Living in a van is starting to sound strangely appealing. But then you hear it. The sound of hope. Of Zillow. You glance at your phone to see a 3-bedroom Craftsman in the right school district. It's perfect, and it just showed up on your phone, like magic. So sign up for mobile alerts, and we'll send you homes that fit your criteria when they hit the market. And to think, you wanted to live in a van. Zillow. Find your way home.
On Fox 877-996-6369, Wisconsin starting to pull away from Arizona. Right around a double-digit lead for Wisconsin as we're dipping under 6 minutes to play. And they're showing the foul trouble for both teams. And it is Groundhog Day every single year when we talk about foul trouble and the amount of fouls that each player has. And they don't eject other players in other sports for these type of things. And it's one of these where I'm curious if they ever do add a foul to college basketball, or they've mentioned this with the NBA for years. It's one of these where I'm okay with the way it is. I'm all right with it. You just have to find a way to play better defense, not get caught in situations where you're reaching or trying to take a charge. You're not in the proper position. Just defend better. I'm in the mindset of defend better. But if somebody came up with a proposal and it went into effect, they've already come up with the proposal, and it went into effect, it wouldn't be like I'd be like, the heck with basketball, I'm not watching again. But I think that we whine and complain. It's interesting to me that the same people that will yell and scream about the hack-a-Shaq, the hack-a-DeAndre Jordan, the hack-a-whoever, they will say, just make your free throws. Those will be the same people that yell and scream about the foul rule in college and the NBA. 5 in college, 6 in the NBA, as you well know. So it's the same thought process, really, where if you're saying just shoot free throws better, why wouldn't you be saying, well, just defend better then? I guess it seems to make sense to me, but not to be a complete hypocrite, it does work the other way. Where I'm okay, I'm totally fine with the rules being the way they are in terms of you getting the gate if you pick up your 5th foul in college or 6th in the NBA. I'm totally fine with you getting the gate, and I'm in favor of them changing the hack-a-whoever. I think it's just bad defense. That's not to be hypocritical. I think I'm consistent in the regard of just play better defense. I don't think that you should get a bonus for just fouling a bad free throw shooter. That's not moving your feet. That's not defending well. That's not blocking shots or making it tough for the offense. That's like, hey, put him on the line. He's no good. I don't see why you should get rewarded for that. So I would like to see that changed. And I'm okay with them not changing the foul rules because guys get in foul trouble regularly. Just defend better. So I guess I'm consistent in that regard, even though I'm in favor of changing the free throw rules to mimic the last 2 minutes of the game. That's another thing that comes up. If they're not going to allow this in the last 2 minutes of an NBA game, then why did they allow it at any stage? They don't want these games decided on these weak loopholes. I would close them all. Absolutely, that's what I would do. Although I'm in favor of it staying the same in college and the NBA. I'm not in favor of more fouls, although I wouldn't give up watching basketball from that point forward if they did institute that. This is The No Show, coming to you live from the Geico Fox Sports Radio studios. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote. There's something that's really stood out to me in the NCAA tournament this year, where the three-pointers that teams take, they are not all the same. And it's a very simplistic thought, but you typically don't think of it like this. I never did until the tournament this year. If you look at Wichita State, this really stood out to me. Their last 2 games, from three-point range, while leading against Kansas, they were 10 of 20. 50%. While trailing mostly against Notre Dame, they were 3 for 18 from three-point range. Much, much worse from the field. And I think a lot of that has to do with the pressure you feel, especially as a younger basketball player. These kids are 19, 20 years old in college. The pressure of their season possibly coming to an end. That's got an effect on how tense you may feel taking a big three-point shot. So I don't look at the stat page the way I used to and say, all right, who did what from the field? Well, this team shot a better three-point percentage than that team. A lot of that has to do with the situations of a game. And it's something to keep your eye on going forward. How teams shoot from long distance while trailing compared to when they're leading. And it's not foolproof. There are plenty of exceptions. But more times than not, you will see a team that leads shoot a better three-point percentage. Probably the best way to think of it, a better three-point percentage compared to themselves. Don't just compare them to their opponents. Because the last game that I tried this with, UCLA, they were 3 for 13 from three-point range. Not great. Gonzaga was worse. They were 3 for 19. Gonzaga was leading almost all game long. So it's not to say that the team that's leading automatically shoots better from three-point range. It's not to say that. But more times than not, you will see a team with a lead shoot a better three-point percentage than if they were trailing. And more times than not, you will see that they will shoot a better three-point percentage than their opponent that they were beating most of the game. And to take it a step further, if you look at Villanova and you look at their formula, they take a lot of threes. They took 28 threes against NC State when they lost to them. 28 of them. They hit 9. So they shot in the 30s. Not terrible, but taking 28 threes while trailing a lot of that game. You start seeing these kids feeling the pressure. You always hear this when players go to the free throw line. Oh, these are big pressure free throws. Free throws are not the only pressured shots that a player will take throughout the course of a ball game. These lower percentage outside shots from three-point range, it's not easy for these kids to make them when they're trailing and the minutes are getting less and less and less. Keep your eye on it in this Arizona game. You know, Arizona, they're just trying to chip away at this lead. Get it less than 10, less than 8, less than 6. They're trying to chip away at it. Keep your eye on Arizona shooting three-pointers while trailing at the end. It's not to say they never make them. Denzel Valentine hit a big 3 from Michigan State yesterday when they were trailing. It's just something to keep your eye on because I think you would agree it does add more pressure if you're trailing, especially late in the game, taking an outside shot when you know your season could be coming to an end. That's more pressure. Some kids can still thrive in those situations, but if your formula is built on that, you're not getting easier buckets at the rim. You're not finishing in higher percentage areas, and you're trailing. I think it absolutely helps explain why Villanova has had quick exits from the NCAA tournament. It happens a lot for them. And you hear this. You hear this from coaches, from kids talking about the pressure of moments. This is Denzel Valentine after beating Oklahoma last night to get to the Elite Eight. He was talking about playing the first half. He felt like he had never played basketball before.
First half, I felt like that was my first time playing basketball, and but I just kind of like snapped out of it, and I was like, I'm in the Sweet 16, and we got a chance to go to the Final Four. I'm a junior. What the heck? So I just smacked the ground, and I woke up, I guess, and I just got on guys, and guys responded and traveled at us.
Yeah, and Coach K, he mentioned that as well. He mentioned at halftime against Utah, and I know Lauren remembers this, being a Utah fan. He's watching this, the edge of his seat and everything. This isn't bad, but he said that his team looked incredibly nervous against Utah in the first half. It just felt like they were just totally nervous. This is one of the best basketball teams in the nation, a number 1 seed in Duke. And they felt nervous to the point where it was completely visible to Coach K. So you will see teams. Charles Barkley always talks about this with clutch free throws at the end of a game. He'll say, the tight sphincters. He'll mention that. I haven't heard him say this in a long time. He used to say this all the time. He would mention the tight sphincters when it was a big shot. And it always seemed to be free throws. There are three-pointers as well. Absolutely. It is not easy to hit these shots with great frequency, especially if you're trailing. And you see the teams that rely on it more heavily than others that are really affected by it. If you look at Duke, they can get easier shots at the rim, higher percentage areas with Jahlil Okafor, with Justice Winslow, who can, dart in there, get into the paint, finish at the rim. You see that from Duke, where they're not totally dependent on the three-point shot. But a team like Villanova, who is way more than other teams, man, if they're trailing, it's tough. It is absolutely tough to figure it out and find a way to get it done, because you're going to start feeling that pressure. All right, Charles Davis at the bottom of the hour from NFL Network joins us. And also this, your perspective can change quickly when it comes to the NCAA tournament. It might change for this man. Tell you who that is next. This is The No Show right here on Fox Sports Radio.
It's March Madness.
3, he switches it.
It's got a nice ring to it, right?
Oh, man, what a shot.
And for the winner, national bragging rights. March Madness.
Get up,
follow all the madness.
Bang, he buries it.
On Fox Sports Radio.
Drop it like it's hot.
Hey, Arnie Spanier here. My mobile phone, it's my lifeline to everything I care about. I don't text and drive, but at all other times, I am pretty much eyes on it. Without it, I'd be lost. With it, I am all-powerful. And now, even more so, thanks to the TrueCar app. Just download it. Build the new car you want in the color you want with everything inside you want and see what others paid for that car. Then you could lock in guaranteed savings from dealers in your area, an average of over $3,000 in savings off MSRP. If you like what you see, you can go to the TrueCar certified dealer and get your new car without any stress or weekends burned looking for it. Just some signatures and a big, huge smile. Again, if you're in the market for a new car and you want to have an amazing new experience buying it, you need to check out TrueCar. It's an awesome new way of buying a car. Save time, save money, and never overpay. Download the TrueCar app today.
The more you learn about your insurance coverage, the more gaps you might find. Like how you thought you were covered for this.
Honey, someone stole my wedding ring.
When you're really only covered for this.
Honey, someone stole my Dakota ring. Oh, well, it was weird anyway.
Or how with renter's insurance, you're covered for
valuables, electronics, bikes, karaoke machines, waffle makers, superhero pajamas.
And without it, you're covered for... Talk to a farmer's agent about what gaps might be hiding in your insurance.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
It'll be home to 942 bursts of laughter, a 16-pound blackened turkey dinner, and the loudest burp on record. It will see its fair share of broken windows, broken bones, and broken hearts. But first, you have to find it. Start your home search at Zillow.com or on our family of apps. You can view millions of photos, browse historical pricing data, and even sign up for alerts when new homes hit the market. Zillow. Find your way home.
Hi, I'm Seth with AA Lock, Dock, and Security. Have you ever thought about the locks or security on your house or business? Have you ever wondered why the keys to your new car cost so much? Well, at AA Lock, Dock, and Security, we can help with securing your valuables. We can even replace those expensive transponder keys. We can give you the knowledge that no one else will. Call AA Lock, Dock, and Security at 867-1965. That's 867-1965.
Are you tired of not using your home's outdoor space for entertaining or relaxation because of all the bugs and leaves? Consider adding a beautiful screen room or glass enclosure. We are Superior Aluminum and Design, a family-owned and operated business with 20 years experience in the aluminum industry, and we are accredited by the Better Business Bureau. If you appreciate superior workmanship, call Superior Aluminum and Design at 817-8058 or visit us on the web at superiораluminumdesign.com.
On Mondays, AM Ocala Live, Bern Paresa will be in the studio with Robin and I. She's the president and CEO of Good for All. She's coming in to speak to us about health providers in Marion County.
News Bites, the hottest news and current events are bite-sized.
And then Valerie Diamond is coming on. She spent 7 years as an exotic dancer in Las Vegas. And Robin, she's going to tell me what it's like.
Ooh.
She's got a book. It's called Stilettos in Vegas.
Have all of your vehicle questions answered by Matt Gibbs on Auto Repair with Personal Care.
And then Robert Butner is coming on. He's an attorney in U.S. federal courts, and he's written a book called Balance Point. It is a thriller.
MJ Rose is a New York Times best-selling author. She'll be speaking about her new novel, The Witch of Painted Sorrows.
Dr. Louis J. DeGennaro is coming on. He's the president and CEO of the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, speaking about the new Ken Burns documentary, Cancer. All of that plus Fun with Joe on Mondays, AM Ocala Live, right here on The Source, WOCA 96.3 FM.
1370 AM.
Here's what you may have missed on the John Tesh Radio Show.
In a study involving more than 2,000 people, those with slimmer waistlines showed higher cognitive ability than those who were overweight or obese. Our pets improve our character and make us much better people. If your partner's the one who's stressed out, we know that you will be 25% more likely to be affected than a stranger would be. Yeah, be careful because stress is contagious.
Intelligence for your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
Real estate is the largest and most personal investment that any of us will ever make. Be sure to tune in Tuesdays at 10 a.m. when Bob Kennedy, owner of Berkshire Hathaway Home Team Realty, will be answering your questions and discussing real estate. So remember, that's Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Call 622-9622 with your questions. It pays to be an informed buyer or seller. This is news you can use from Berkshire Hathaway Home Team Realty and your friends here at WOCA.
And the Ad Council.
Hello there.
When we crack the mic.
It's party time. We are in the air everywhere.
We make damn sure you get the best sports talk on your radio.
I put sports in my life as a priority.
And they're doing a damn good job. From the breaking news.
Fox Sports Radio has learned that the Cleveland
to the stories that are trending.
When something's trending, I'll call you.
You best be sure that we're putting on a show for you. 24/7.
I'm here to party too.
Right here
on Fox Sports Radio.
Tomorrow on Fox Sports 1, Katie Nolan returns with her new weekly show, Garbage Time.
Cool.
Katie will give her take on the week's top stories and host celebrity guests. Garbage Time airs Sunday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, only on Fox Sports 1.
It is the No Show here on Fox Sports Radio. I'm Brian No. Wisconsin trying to hold off Arizona. I like that how Steve DeSager talked about Arizona. Arnie is very, very fond of the Arizona Wildcats. And he mentioned that Arnie coming up next, he might have a little edge to him today. A little edge to him if Arizona continues to not play well against Wisconsin and goes down. A little more edge. I am from South Bend, Indiana, so I root for Notre Dame. I am admittedly a fair weather fan. I hate to admit this. But I'll tell you what, man, it's one of these deals where the amount of success a team has absolutely impacts your level of interest. There's no doubt about it. I hate to admit that. I wish I was more diehard when it comes to Notre Dame hoops being from that area. I'm all in with Notre Dame football. And you could argue since '88 that they've had a lot of seasons where they haven't played very well, and I'm still all in. But they've had way more success in football than basketball. Their last Final Four was in, 1979? It's been a long time for Notre Dame to have this type of success. And I don't even know if that was a Final Four. It was an Elite Eight appearance. But Notre Dame, they haven't had a whole lot to write home about over the last, 3+ decades? It's a long time, man. So I'm fair weather when it comes to the Irish. I'll get on the bandwagon when they're doing well, and I hope they play really well against Kentucky. But because they haven't had great success, I'm just not all in. And I think if you're really honest with yourself and your allegiances when it comes to your teams, there might be similarities. Maybe. I still think you can be a diehard fan of a team that doesn't have a great track record. There are plenty of teams. You go from sport to sport to sport. A lot of teams that haven't been in a Super Bowl, diehard fan base. A lot of teams that, haven't had great success in the NCAA tournament, still diehard fans. I'm not one of them when it comes to Notre Dame. I hate to admit that, but it's true. I got a couple of tweets here. Your brain on sports. Sleep now in the fire. I like your style, sir. You have a new regular listener a couple of weeks now, and I dig the show. I appreciate that. Brains on sports. That is fantastic. And Gumby Dave, my guy, says, hey, nobodies. No show is on the air now. Wisconsin versus Arizona on TV with volume down and no on iHeartRadio. That is dedication right there. That is hardcore nobody status right there. That is a true nobody. No doubt about it. So I heard Seth Davis say this about Mark Few during TBS's coverage the other night. Gonzaga has made it to the Elite Eight for the second time in school history. And it's the first time under Mark Few. And Seth Davis said, you can no longer knock him for not delivering in March. And I just looked at the TV and I was like, it's subject to change. Because if they go down against Duke, it's going to be a 180. And a lot of people are going to be like, what? This guy again, he beats up on the West Coast Conference. And when push comes to shove, he didn't get it done. Because you look at their path. To get to the Elite Eight, Gonzaga has beaten North Dakota State, Iowa, and UCLA. Is that enough to change the narrative of Mark Few not delivering in March? I don't think it is. So if they go down to Duke, and if it's in convincing fashion, I don't think this has changed the narrative at all. I think that is here and now thinking. Now, if they make it to the Final Four, if they go further, okay, absolutely. I totally agree with that. But I think it's too early to say for sure you can't knock Mark Few going forward. It really depends on what they do going forward. Because that's going to change if they don't get it done. It absolutely will. And I think you hear this quite a bit with the NCAA tournament, where, we got to take our hats off to this coach. And it's like, there's still a lot of work to be done. Coach Calipari was talking about this, about Kentucky being 36-0, and they're going to reflect back. No other team had gone 36-0 in the history of college hoops. And 50 years from now, they'll look back and it's like, whoa. If you guys lose, that is not happening. Like if they went out and lost to West Virginia, or if they somehow lost to Notre Dame today, you're not looking back fondly 50 years from now, having not won the NCAA tournament. It just doesn't work like that. So there's still work left to be done. And I would be careful about these big picture thoughts on coaches or teams or what have you. With Gonzaga, I've called them the Atlanta Braves of college basketball. They have all of these division titles, if you will, like the Atlanta Braves had, winning the NL East for years and years and years, and then only winning one championship. Gonzaga is like that without the championship. They just beat up on the West Coast Conference. So just getting to the Elite Eight, and more so the path that they've had, beating UCLA, a team that a lot of people thought shouldn't have been in the tournament, to me doesn't do enough to change the narrative. It's something that Greg Bergman and I were talking about. I think that we look at stages of the tournament, and it's like everything else is just out the window. It doesn't matter who you played or who you beat. It's just, well, if you got to the Sweet 16, then that's good. If you get to the Elite Eight, that's impressive. I would look closer at who you actually beat to get there, because there are paths that are a lot tougher, and there are paths that are a lot easier. Greg Bergman is a big UCLA guy, and Steve Alford has gotten to the Sweet 16 the last 2 years. It's good, but if you look closely at who they've beaten to get there this year, is it something to write home about just based on who they played and who they beat? They beat SMU, okay, and they beat UAB. UAB upset Iowa State. So is that like an incredibly impressive path to get to the Sweet 16? No. Same thing with Rick Barnes, who is no longer at Texas. You'll hear the stat a lot. Well, he made it to the tournament 16 out of 17 seasons. Okay, but like this year, they snuck in, one of the last teams in, didn't have success, didn't win a game in the tournament. So I believe it requires a little bit more digging. You got to take it to the next step. You got to look at who these teams are beating to get to a certain stage. And you have to look at just getting into the tournament. That's nice, but what do you do once you're in there? I think you got to go a little bit further. Have you guys heard about this bill that's been passed in Indiana? That's very political, but it does have something to do with sports. There's a bill that allows businesses to reject gay customers. And Charles Barkley, he released a statement on this and said, quote, "Discrimination in any form is unacceptable to me. As long as anti-gay legislation exists in any state, I strongly believe big events such as the Final Four and Super Bowl should not be held in those state cities," end quote. Reggie Miller, he tweeted also and said, quote, "I've never been big into politics, but I'm very disappointed in my adopted home state of Indiana in the passing of Senate Bill 101. I've always been about inclusion for all, no matter your skin color, gender, or sexual preference. We are all the same people, beautiful creatures," end quote. That's what Reggie Miller had to say about it. I'm similar to Reggie Miller, where I can't tell you about all of the intricacies of politics. I look at it from afar, if that. I'm just not incredibly fascinated by it. But there are certain things that come up that I know enough about that I can speak on and at least deliver an opinion that isn't horrible. And I really think that if this bill is passed, and Indiana is one of 20 states to have a similar bill, so it's not like Indiana's out on its own, but it depends how you look at it. I don't think that's good that there are 19 other states that look at it in a similar fashion. I have a problem with businesses being able to refuse gay customers. I have an issue with that. And the simplest way I can put it is this. Whatever group you happen to be in, how would you like it if your group was refused service? Whatever you have, whoever you are, whatever, you're a white guy listening to me right now. You're, a religious woman listening to me right now. Whatever group you're in, you're refused service just based on your group affiliation. How would you like that? You wouldn't. You would not like it at all. And so I just have a problem with groups being ousted and groups being pushed to the side and, we can refuse you, but we got to serve these other people. That's just the way. I think that's a bad look. I think that's a very, very bad look. And I was talking to Greg Bergman before the show, and I told him, I was like, when you look at the civil rights movement in America, and I'm 37 years old. I didn't grow up in the 60s. But when I see videos and see footage of whites only drinking fountains and things like that, I look back and I'm like, that's really the way it was? Like, really? That's the way it was set up. That's crazy. And I think that there are similarities here with the Indiana bill. And if based on your sexual orientation, you can be refused service, I'm totally against that. And it just has the feeling to me that we're in 2015 right now. It feels in a similar fashion that 50 years from now, you look back at this and be like, that's the way it was? Really? That's how it was going down? That's just my feeling on it. But I can understand Charles Barkley certainly saying, hey, listen, if this is the way it is, and this came up with the Super Bowl in Arizona when they were thinking about doing something similar. I agree with Charles where, if you have the power of the Super Bowl, if you have the power of the NCAA tournament, and you're able to influence heavily when it comes to change, I think that you should throw your weight around in certain instances. 877-99 on Fox is your phone number, 877-996-6369. Coming up next, we jump into some NFL talk with Charles Davis of the NFL Network here on The No Show. But first, let's find out what's trending.
Well, Wisconsin was just too good for Arizona at the NCAA's West Regional Final.
Kaminsky reverses, banks it. Yes, and a foul. Yes, it counts. He was pushed from behind as he got the step on Ashley.
Frank Kaminsky with 29 points, and the Badgers are going to the Final Four again, beating Arizona again in a West Regional Final in Southern California, same as last year, 85-78. Westwood won. NCAA Radio Network with that call. The Wildcats were good. They shot 56% from the floor. On free throws, Arizona 28 of 30, but the Badgers in the second half kept hitting threes, kept the lead, and won by 7. On the day, Wisconsin from three-point range, 12 for 18. Coming up in about 20 minutes, it is top-ranked Kentucky against Notre Dame in the Midwest Regional Final. Texas will reportedly fire Coach Rick Barnes. Joey Logano won today's trucks race at Martinsville. I'm Steve DeSager.
We are Fox Sports! Fox Sports 1. Spring is almost here, and that means the Major League Baseball season is returning to Fox Sports 1. Saturday, April 11th, the Red Sox take on the Yankees at 12:30 p.m. Eastern, followed by the Royals against the Angels at 9 p.m. Eastern, only on Fox Sports 1.
It is The No Show, coming to you live from the Geico Fox Sports Radio studios. It's easy to save 15% or more on car insurance with Geico. Go to geico.com or call 800-947-AUTO. The only hard part, figuring out which way is easier. Want to jump right out to the Progressive Insurance Celebrity Hotline from NFL Network. Charles Davis joins us. Welcome, Charles. Appreciate you coming on the show. First question for you. Jameis Winston, he posted a picture on Instagram, and he's sporting a little bit of a gut. This has been a common talking point with the boiler of Jameis Winston. Do NFL teams care about this whatsoever?
They just care about your basic conditioning. You know, are you going to be able to play, get through games, that sort of deal. If it's a body beautiful contest, that's one thing. But is it going to affect him throwing the football? Probably not. I mean, you know your football history. People listening out there are probably conjuring up right now different images of great quarterbacks in the past with varied body types.
Right.
Sonny Jurgensen threw it pretty well. All right, Sonny Jurgensen threw it pretty well, and he wobbled out there. Okay, Stan Humphries went to a Super Bowl with the San Diego Chargers. He's not going to win any pose down contests. I could go on all day for that sort of deal. It's part of the speculation. It's part of, is he prepared in the social media era that we live in? 24-hour-a-day news cycle. It becomes something else to discuss because you know as well as I do, the run up to the draft starts pretty much the moment the national championship game signs off. So there's a lot of time to fill. I don't think teams are going to be that concerned about it, but obviously they want him to be in the best shape he can be in.
Right, and you look at Randy Gregory. He failed a drug test at the NFL Combine. It was for weed, for marijuana. The type of player that he is, the type of prospect he is, with that being on his resume, do you see him falling in the draft?
I think he'll probably fall. Look, he had, I think he told my colleague, Kimberly Jones at NFL Network, that there were 2 documented drug tests that he failed at Nebraska. Teams knew about that already. The whole league knew about it. None of that was a surprise. But when you fail a drug test at the Combine, that gets everyone's attention because it's one of those things where you've known for a long time in advance that on this date you're going to the Combine and you know you're going to be drug tested. So if you do any basic rudimentary learning about marijuana, you know that the half-life of marijuana is 28 to 32 days in your body from the last time you smoked. Well, he said that he quit doing it, months beforehand, but he had done so much prior to that he'd built it up and it still registered positive. Now, I'm not about to sit here and play doctor. not on radio, not on TV or anything. But if he's saying he was doing that much and it still showed up positive, that's going to be a flag for teams. It's a big flag for teams. If you have the test in advance and you still can't pass it, meaning like it's an open book test, that's a flag for teams. But I don't believe he falls out of the first round. We've seen this many times before where big-time players have had an incident or two or something before, but that's not what takes them, it doesn't totally take them out of the first round. They'll lose some money, but I doubt that Randy Gregory falls out of the first round unless we find out more stuff or other medical concerns come up.
Charles Davis is from the NFL Network, joins us here on the No Show on Fox Sports Radio. All of these extra point discussions, Charles, where they're thinking about eliminating the extra point or bringing it back further, and it's led to all types of conversations and some crazy ideas. The Colts with the 9-point proposal and these sorts of things. Is there anything out there that you actually like?
No, absolutely not. There's simply nothing out there that I like. I think it's much ado about nothing. I think it's focusing on something that's really not a major league issue. The key is getting the 6, right? That's where it's tough. Getting 6 in this game is not easy. You kick the extra point, you move on. Occasionally, that extra point is missed. I keep hearing, well, it's not missed often enough. But when it is missed, it's a big deal, isn't it? I mean, it blows people away, just like missing short field goal. So I just think that, when we start to really gimmick up the game, it sounds good in the short term, but I think over time, it's just too much. A 9-point progression, score, you kick it from here, this is good, then you do something else. I thought we were trying to make sure the game was played at a good pace. That's one of the reasons we had issues with instant replay when it first came in, and even now people wonder if it takes too long. Go ahead and gimmick it up and start tampering with the extra point and all this other stuff. We put the 2-point play in. That was plenty. You want to go for 2, go for 2. You don't want to go for 2, kick the extra point, and let's move on. I just think it's just too much personally, and I keep hearing, well, let's move it back. Let's do this. Let's do that. Why? I keep coming back to why. I still don't understand that. I don't think that's something that's affecting the popularity of the game, and people are turning their TVs off because the extra point's too easy. I don't think you've heard that argument from anyone. I really have not. I keep hearing, well, it's too easy. Yeah, but are you turning it off? Is it killing you from watching the game? Oh, no, not at all. Well, there you go. There's your answer.
To me, the biggest intriguing story of the NFL draft is Mariota because of all the speculation that teams trade up. Like, does he go number 2? Are the Redskins interested? Your best guess at who eventually ends up getting Marcus Mariota? Who would you put any type of, if you're putting a vested interest on this, Charles Davis, where would you go? What team would you put your money on?
Oh, boy. You like to put somebody on the spot, don't you?
It's tough, man. It's a tough question. I don't know where to go with that.
It is. I think it's a great question, frankly, and that's where it leads to the fun in the run-up to the draft, because let's just be frank about it. I don't care what the Instagram picture is right now of Jameis Winston and his corpulence. That's not going to keep him from going number 1. He's only not going to go number 1 if he has some other legal issue, things of that nature, runs afoul of the law, of policy, etc. I don't believe that's going to happen. I think he's done a very impressive job convincing teams he's moving on and moving forward. So to me, the draft starts at number 2. I think Tennessee is analyzing taking Marcus Mariota more than maybe even, they're letting. I know Coach Wisenhunt said, well, if we do take him, we'll take him and he'll be a starter. And people went crazy on that. But you remember he said if. It's a big if. I think he's also trying to drum up the marketplace a little bit. Hey, if you guys want this guy, you might have to come up to 2 to get him, and we'll be the team you deal with. Not getting down to number 6 with the Jets, maybe even number 5 with Washington, who's made a little bit of noise about that, although I'm skeptical because that would mean the owner would have to sign off on that, and he's been in Robert Griffin III's corner for so long. So everyone looks at Philadelphia and talks about them moving up to get him. I'm going to throw someone else in the hat for you. Cleveland has 2 picks again in the first round at 12 and 19.
All right, we're throwing the Browns in there, huh?
They still have not gotten quarterback right.
Yeah,
their so-called quarterback for the future, Jonathan F. Football, has had a very tough off season and has yet to prove himself to be that guy. I wouldn't be surprised at all if on draft night we find out that they package together those 2 picks and try and make that move and say we've got to get quarterback right. Would not surprise me one bit. And let's be frank about this. We've all said Philadelphia, they're the most logical team. We get it. I'm bored with saying Philadelphia. Let's go with someone else. Since St. Louis made the move in the trade with Foles and Bradford, I'm going to take them off the chart, even though in my last mock draft I had them taking Mariota at 10. I had him falling to them. Let's go ahead and get Cleveland involved in this bad boy. Cleveland makes a move up, deals with Tennessee at 2, so they don't have to mess with anyone else. The 2 picks get packaged. Ken Wisenhunt and the Titans get 2 great picks and better players. And Cleveland Browns, one more time, try and get a quarterback. Although I will say this, the number has been 22. Remember?
Yeah.
Brady Quinn was at 22.
Sure.
Brandon Whedon was at 22. Jonathan F. Football was at 22. Do they dare do something else that has a 2 in it? Or is that helping break the chain? There you go.
Maybe it's just 1, 2 instead of 2. That's the whole.
There you go. Maybe that'll change their life.
Maybe. Hey, Charles, appreciate the time. Great stuff. Enjoy your day, all right?
All right, you do the same. Thanks for the time. Enjoyed talking to you.
Yeah, me as well. It's Charles Davis from the NFL Network joining us here on Fox Sports Radio. Some good stuff. Yeah, a couple of things that Charles had to hit on I want to respond to. Wisconsin moving on. Arizona, just a brutal way to get ousted. Is there a more brutal way to bow out of the tournament? We'll dive into that. And also this, the three ugly words for a franchise and a league. I know, I teased like 19 things. We'll try to get to all of it next. This is The No Show right here on Fox Sports Radio.
We know that there are others, but we'll tell you this. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, buddy. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to hear us.
We can't thank you enough for your passion.
Thank you. You're fuck too kind.
Thank you.
On Fox Sports Radio.
Hi, this is Carfax. You already say, show me the Carfax. But now you can say, show me millions of used cars for sale at the all-new Carfax.com, where now you can search with the power of Carfax. Want cars with no accidents reported? You got them. Used cars that are well-maintained? You can find those too. Even one-owner cars are just a click away. Plus, we're the only site where you get a free Carfax report with every car for sale. So, find the cars you want, avoid the ones you don't. Start your used car search at Carfax.com.
On Monday, Josh Leibarger made his status, Case of the Mondays, followed by a frowny face. It got 1 like and 5 comments, including dislike. Well, Josh, Geico also wants to make a comment to turn that emoji's frown upside down. In just 15 minutes, you could save hundreds of dollars on your car insurance by switching to Geico. With all that extra dough, why not give Monday a makeover? We see an office party in your future. Hosted by you. Hashtag happy face. Hashtag savings.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Pay your taxes, eat your vegetables, watch your weight, mow the lawn, clean the house. We all have stuff we don't want to do. Isn't it about time you did something you wanted to do? Like getting your pilot's license? At Ocala Aviation, they make it fun and easy, and you can start by taking one of their Discovery flights. For only $99, you get to go up in the airplane with an FAA-certified flight instructor and actually fly the plane yourself. It's a perfect way to see if flying is for you. And once you get that ultimate feeling of freedom, Ocala Aviation can train you to get your pilot's license. Ocala Aviation also offers commercial flight training for those looking to make a career change and enter the world of commercial aviation. Ocala Aviation is conveniently located at the Ocala International Airport. So if you're ready to start your adventure, stop by or give them a call today. 861-7484. That's 861-7484. You'll be glad you did. I know I am. Ocala Aviation. Call today. 861-7484.
Career Source, Citrus, Levy, Marion brings together business and community partners, economic development leaders, and educational providers to connect employers with qualified, skilled talent and job seekers with employment and career development opportunities. Tune in the first and third Wednesday of each month at 9:30 a.m. to Career Source, Citrus, Levy, Marion, and learn how they can help you.
That was the sound of a tree falling. It could be your tree. You're going to have it trimmed, but never got around to calling Pride Tree Service. It could have fallen in a field, and now all you have to do is call Pride Tree Service, and they'll have it quickly out of the way for a great price. But don't wait until the tree falls. It may not fall in the field. It may hit your car, your house, or worse. So call Pride Tree Service today and avoid all those headaches before they happen. Pride Tree Service, 840-0750. That's 840-0750.
Let's give it up for old asphalt and a new pair of shoes. Let's give it up for a good rhythm meeting a sweet melody. For a church cookout under clear skies. Let's give it up for good things coming together, like bundling your auto and other policies together with an Allstate agent, which can save you time and keep you better protected. Let's give it up for good.
To receive your comparative insurance quote, contact the McDonald Agency at 622-2333.
Located next door to Silver Spring State Park and a few minutes from historic downtown Ocala, our award-winning Holiday Inn Express Hotel and Suites of Silver Springs is the place to stay for a friendly, memorable, and fun experience. Enjoy our fast and free Wi-Fi, complimentary hot breakfast, and free parking. Whether you're in town for work or play, our friendly staff will make you feel right at home. That's the Holiday Inn Express and Suites of Silver Springs.
Proud sponsor of College of Central Florida basketball on WOCA The Source.
So you need a credit card, but how do you choose? Let's compare the big banks to Florida Credit Union. They have rewards, and we do too. They have customer service. Hello, 24/7. They have celebrities. Hey, Danny. But with Florida Credit Union, there's no annual fee, no liability for fraudulent charges, and no 22% interest rates. Choose Florida Credit Union, and you'll not only have a great credit card, but you'll have the support and personal touch that the big banks, well, can't touch. Florida Credit Union, connecting your money to your life. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Putting the local back into radio. 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. WOCA News. Variety. Information. Now. Keep your arms and legs on the inside at all times.
When it really counts, depend on The Source for the latest weather updates, keeping you ahead of the storm. 96.3 FM, 1370 AM, The Source.
From the U.S. Department of Justice, Crime Prevention Coalition of America, National Crime Prevention Council, and the Ad Council.
Sometimes we forget.
Is that possible?
We get a little ahead of ourselves. You know, talking sports and all.
That's what sports radio is all about.
But that doesn't mean we won't take the time to tell you thank you.
This is Ben Maller. Thank you. I'm Andy Furman.
And I'm Mike Dorr. Thanks, folks. This is JT the Brick, and we thank you.
We're so grateful for you, the fan.
You guys are the rock on this radio show.
Thank you again from your friends here.
This is Steve Gorman. Thank you.
On Fox Sports Radio.
This is
The One is on.
Fox Sports 1.
I know you want me, you know I want you.
America's new sports network.
Go to foxsports1.com to find the channel number for Fox Sports 1 in your area.
It is the No Show here on Fox Sports Radio. What does it mean when Geico says just 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance? Means you probably should have gone to geico.com 15 minutes ago. So Charles Davis of the NFL Network just joined us. And I asked him about Jameis Winston's latest boiler picture. Picture he posted on Instagram where he's got the gut. He's sporting a non-six-pack. I don't know what the opposite of a six-pack would be. There's got to be a catchy name for it. A zero-pack. I don't know. But it leads to a talking point, and a lot of people, a keg, he's got the keg. I like that. I don't know if it's full-blown keg. It's like a mini keg. He's got the mini keg going there a little bit. But it's a talking point. I don't think it's a talking point for teams. And Charles mentioned this, where if you start going through the quarterbacks in the NFL, the first guy I thought of was Tom Brady. Remember when Tom Brady was at the NFL scouting combine And you probably remember the picture of him like standing while getting his height measured, and he's got the shorts on. He doesn't look to be a physical specimen. And Tom Brady running the 40. If you did an ab contest with some of the more successful quarterbacks in the NFL, you think that Big Ben's midsection is just like the epitome of a six-pack? No, it isn't. It's one of these deals where I get it with Jameis Winston and some of the off-the-field concerns. It leads you to possibly make a bigger deal out of this than there is to make. I can understand that, but at some point you got to pump the brakes and say it's probably a lot of talk about nothing. You could make a couple of jokes here and there. Is it really going to halt his success in the NFL? I don't think at all. I don't think whatsoever. And I think if you're saying, well, it speaks to a larger issue, you might be making more out of it than there is to make. As far as Arizona going down for the second straight year to Wisconsin, that's one of the worst ways to get bounced from the tournament. On the doorstep of a Final Four appearance for 2 straight years, and they're bounced by the same team. Now, I got to compare this with another painful way to lose, and it happened in the tournament this year. And I think this is an interesting comparison. I'm going to lay it out for you. I'm going to throw in my 2 cents, and I want to hear what the crew has to say about this. I'm curious. With Greg Bergman, Lauren Gardner, Steve DeSager, here's the comparison. You've got Arizona, and I just said, second straight year, almost there for the Final Four, deeper in the tournament than this other team. Is that more painful than the way Kansas lost? Because you think of Kansas and everything that they've heard about avoiding Wichita State, and they met them before the Sweet 16. So Wichita State beat Kansas to get to the Sweet 16. Kansas, as a 2 seed, gets bounced. I think it's tougher for Kansas to lose to an in-state rival. So you got to think about putting yourself in the shoes of those fans. And God forbid you live in that area and you hear chesty Shocker fan like, oh, that's why you're scared to face us and blah, blah, blah. I think it's worse. And I look at it mostly from a geographical standpoint. And not just being in that area. I think it's worse, and you roll your eyes if you're a Jayhawks fan, as if now the narrative is, well, you have good reason to be scared of Wichita State. Like, there's nothing wrong with losing in the Elite Eight to Wisconsin, who's a 1 seed in that region. If you're Kansas and you're losing to a lower-seeded Wichita State team that's going to be squawking and talking all this trash, yap. I think that's a worse way. Not to say that Arizona losing is happy-go-lucky fun times. I just think it's worse what Kansas did. Now, Greg Bergman, I'll give you first dibs. Do you agree with me that Kansas lost in more painful fashion if you're a fan of that team?
Yeah, absolutely.
You're with me?
Yeah, I'm 100% with you.
Okay, I like it.
Exactly, because the way that they lost was just, losing to Wichita State after all that, absolutely.
Yes, it's the backstory. And
yes.
I don't think they had met since like 93 or something like that.
And right, Kansas, and Bill Self was, they were hiding from him. I mean, they were absolutely hiding from him, and this is why.
And now it's the whole narrative. That's what it is. That's why you're scared. That's why you're running. Lauren Gardner, where do you throw your 2 cents in on?
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I mean,
you're with me.
They got boat raced by what they thought was inferior competition, who they refused to play on a year-to-year basis. And, Arizona goes out to a very, very good Wisconsin team. That's respectable.
Now, Steve DeSager, are you on the opposite side, or are you joining the team?
Arizona played very well, by the way. There's no shame in how they played today. It's just 4 absolute crushers in recent years for them in the tournament. I would go with Kansas, though, and what sways it also for me is that they've been bounced in the first week of the tournament. I think it's 8 times in the last 20 years. And then to have it against Wichita State, the team that you won't schedule, well, that's just it. Because you remember in the old days, Kentucky wouldn't schedule Louisville. And then in the tournament, they had to play each other. And now we as fans get a Kentucky-Louisville game. And it's great. Why won't Kansas schedule them?
Yeah, you're right. And that's all they're going to hear. You're going to hear that until whenever they play them again. They're going to refer to this game, Wichita State will, for years and years and years for Kansas fans. Arizona is not going to be reminded by Wisconsin fans of, oh, yeah, we killed you. That's not going to be the common talking point. You might hear it from time to time, but not over and over ad nauseum. It's just going to be a lot less painful. But I'll tell you what, man, you're going to hear Arnie Spanier coming up at 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 on the West Coast. And, he might be a little bit upset. He might be a little bit upset here and now. Yeah. Listen, it goes without saying. He's a diehard fan. You hurt for your team when they're that close and don't get it done. But Wisconsin, better job. They're moving forward. All right, coming up next, resenting success says a lot. This is The No Show right here on Fox Sports Radio.
We are Fox Sports! If you missed Southern Pigskin Tonight recently, you missed Urban Meyer talking about what it takes to man up.
You hear the term man up or next man ready, and everyone says that. We've certainly been a part of situations where that hasn't happened, where the next man wasn't ready. Obviously, the credit goes to the player first.
So join us every Thursday at 5 p.m. for Southern Pigskin Tonight, right here on 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
Black Cow composted cow manure is a terrific organic soil amendment. We start with cow manure from dairy farms and then compost it a full 90 days. The result is an all-natural, dark, rich soil amendment that's great for everything you grow. Flowers, vegetables, shrubs, trees, and lawns too. Look for Black Cow in the bright yellow and black bag at your favorite nursery or garden center.
Black Cow, the mature manure, Black Cow.
They say diamonds are always a girl's best friend. April is Diamond Month at Goss & Son Jewelers. Check out their Tacori engagement and bridal sets and beautiful diamond anniversary band. Hand-selected by the Goss family, Teddy and Jerry Goss and Cammie McLeod. You can choose these beautiful diamonds just for you or your loved one. Visit Goss & Son Jewelers downtown on the square and let the diamond consultants help you select a one-of-a-kind piece. Goss & Son, downtown for 65 years. Right on the southwestern corner of the square sits one of the finest dining establishments in Florida, Mark's Prime Steakhouse and Seafood Restaurant. Mark's offers big city dining amenities in a charming and small town setting. It's a rare treat to experience both the ambiance and the exquisite cuisine in a friendly atmosphere. Ocala's finest restaurant serves the finest beef, the freshest seafood, premium wines, and naturally fresh vegetables. From valet parking to splendid service, Mark's offers the complete package. Check it out today. Mark's Prime Seafood and Steakhouse Restaurant.
Buried under receipts and confusing tax code? Let Crippen & Company help. They work hard to make the tax preparation process as painless as possible. With offices in Ocala and the Villages, their team is dedicated to helping clients with corporate and personal tax returns, bookkeeping for businesses, and estate planning for the future. Crippen & Company crafts a truly customized experience for each client's needs while alleviating stress and creating a big picture of your overall financial health. Call 352-732-4260 or visit crippencpa.com to get started.
Holidays and memories go hand in hand. Why not make this Easter even more memorable by serving a honey-baked ham and delicious sides and desserts? Yum! Yes, the coconut and lemon cream cakes are back.
Enjoying the family, egg hunts, and just being able to relax without having to spend hours in the kitchen will make your day a memorable one. Pop on over to Honey Baked Ham.
Call and place your holiday order today, 861-0011. That's 861-0011. Honey Baked Ham, behind Best Buy.
Here's a way for you to have some fun and at the same time support Team WOCA The Source in our efforts to raise funds for the Marion County Literacy Council. You can have Robin and I come to your event or somebody else's event. I play accordion, she plays mandolin, and we'll give the oompa surprise to somebody who may not be expecting it. So call us at 732-8000, ask for Robin. 100% of your donation of any amount will go to the Marion County Literacy Council, and it is tax deductible. Call today, 732-8000.
WOCA,
that our product will give you
cleaner, tighter abs in minutes.
Perfect smile, porcelain veneers.
Freedom from those painful, embarrassing bunions.
Because we simply want to help you spend smarter and save better. Log on to feedthepig.org. Find the benefits of saving for every stage of life. Brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
Andy Fur
Furman.
Hello, Mikey. Hello, America.
And Mike North.
Everything's good, Andy.
This is Fox Sports Daybreak.
The Indianapolis Colts and Chuck Pagano, they're not going to reach a deal on a contract extension before the beginning of the season. I don't understand it. I really don't. Why would you want to have extra distractions rolling into the season? This guy deserves a contract extension. Wouldn't you agree?
I'm not sure. Because the guy that replaced him was better than him. Arians. I remember when he got replaced. Yeah. Let's not forget Pagano. Good coach, but he's not a big name, and he doesn't need to be a big name as long as he keeps winning. But I think they want to see what happens this year. They've beefed up their football team. They've gotten a running back for Luck. I think they want to see improvement, because really when you look at Indianapolis and you talk about Andrew Luck and you talk about that team, you say to yourself, okay, how much did they improve from last year to the year before?
Andy Furman, Mike North, Fox Sports Daybreak, weekdays 6 a.m.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox Sports Trending now.
Wisconsin's going back to the Final Four after eliminating Arizona 85-78 in the West Regional Final. The Badgers from three-point range in the second half, 10 for 12. Number one ranked and undefeated Kentucky, after the first 4 minutes of its regional final, trails 4-3 to Notre Dame. The Irish basketball program has been to the Final Four only once, ever. That was in 1978. In more recent history, Notre Dame Hoops has only won one NCAA tournament game since 2008. Until this year's run, they're a step away from the Final Four and in the early going in tonight's game against Kentucky. We're brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. To see how much you could save, call Geico at 1-800-947-AUTO or visit geico.com. Texas will reportedly fire Coach Rick Barnes. Joey Logano won today's trucks race at Martinsville. Cup race on Fox Sports 1 tomorrow. I'm Steve DeSager.
They are high-fiving off pit road.
Tomorrow, the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series is live from Martinsville and only on Fox Sports 1. Race day gets the day started at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, and race action begins live at 1 p.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 1.
Let's go, all right?
No. This is the No Show.
No Show, no is spelled N-O-E.
It's Brian No.
Appreciate you checking out the show.
Time to laugh.
I'm sorry, that's just how I feel.
And learn.
It's the way it works with sports fans. The more you get, the more you want.
Live from the Geico Fox Sports Radio studios, here's Brian No.
It is the No Show right here on Fox Sports Radio. I'm Brian No, hanging out with you guys. Hope you're having a fantastic Saturday. 877-99 on Fox is your phone number, 877-996-6369. Also on Twitter, at The No Show. No is spelled N-O-E. You want to hit me up there, feel free to do so. So I was just talking to the crew here, and I set up another question, which, depending on how you answer it, is very, very telling. Notre Dame's going toe-to-toe with Kentucky right now. I don't expect Notre Dame to win this game, as most people also do not expect them to win this game. But there's a question that comes from the possibility that I do think is interesting to explore for a couple of minutes. Would it be more memorable if Notre Dame beats Kentucky today than if another team wins the national championship this season? So the way it would work is Notre Dame beats Kentucky today, and then they lose their next game. They don't win the national championship. Some other team does. Wisconsin or Duke, Gonzaga, Michigan State, Louisville, somebody else. Would it be more memorable that Notre Dame took down Goliath, UK, than Coach K winning another championship? Tom Izzo winning another one? Wisconsin winning one? Yeah, that's an interesting question to me, and I was chopping it up with the crew here, and Greg Bergman, Lauren, and myself are in agreement where we actually believe, and it sounds crazy to say, that it would be more memorable if Notre Dame beat Kentucky, yet another team won it all. It's crazy to think of it like that, but if you start throwing out other scenarios in sports and start, really trying to test your theory, if you look at Notre Dame, we'll use them again. Beating UCLA, stopping their streak of 88 straight games. That was in 1974. Who won it all that year? Do you know off the top of your head? Maybe you don't associate the 88-game streak ending in the specific year. I don't either. But it's very, very memorable. Like, tell me anything memorable about that season, about the NCAA tournament, about who won, whatever you want. What was more memorable than that? I think it's a legitimate comparison. Now, this is probably a discussion that equates to a whole lot of nothing because we don't expect Kentucky to actually lose to Notre Dame today. But it just speaks to how huge of a story Kentucky has been this year. Where Kentucky at 37-0 is such a big story that them losing in the tournament, not winning the championship, would actually trump another champion. That's insane. But I actually do think that's legitimate. And you have to do forecasting here. You got to forecast 20, 30 years into the future. You know, a decade or 2 or 3. You're talking about what really made an impression on you. And I think that Kentucky losing like this in the tournament would make a bigger impression on you than whoever wins it. Because you got to think, man, look back 10, 20 years and what moments really stand out to you. There are plenty of years where there are moments that stand out to you more than whomever was crowned champion. And I guess the only thing that you could leave open is the possibility of some crazy iconic national championship game where if it's Duke on top of it, highly recognizable, very well known, loved and hated by many, many people. I mean, you leave the door open for something iconic happening in the national championship game that could be as memorable. That's possible. But if it's a normal championship game, nothing extravagant, nothing crazy that happens, I think you remember UK going down more than the champion. I'm saying this and I'm like, yeah, that's actually how I feel. I actually believe that. It just sounds so wrong to say it. But I think that's the way it goes because, case in point, there are many other seasons where that's the case. Something stands out to you more than the team that actually won the championship. It happens. This is the No Show coming to you live from the Geico Fox Sports Radio studios. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote. So I told you about the 3 ugly words, 3 very ugly words for a franchise and a league. The 3 ugly words are bone graft surgery, which is what Kevin Durant is having on his injured foot. And he's obviously one of the brightest stars in the game. This doesn't just hurt Oklahoma City. This hurts the NBA. It hurts Oak City more than the NBA. But for the NBA to have one of its brightest stars, arguably still the second best player in the sport, on the shelf for the foreseeable future, certainly the end of this season, that's bad for the league. That is bad for the league going forward. And if you compare Kevin Durant to Dan Marino, I don't think this is too crazy of a comparison where if you think of Dan Marino getting to a Super Bowl in the second season he was in the NFL, you just thought, he'll be back. He's too talented. He'll be back there. Football and basketball are obviously not the same game. The star power and the value that you have as an NBA superstar, it trumps what you have in the NFL, even at the quarterback position, in terms of impact that you can have on both ends of the floor in basketball. You don't have that in football. Quarterback is incredibly, incredibly important and in a decent comparison to an NBA superstar, right? It's comparable. But with Kevin Durant going to the NBA Finals once and looking to the future, he has a long, long way to go. And I hope that he gets back to the NBA Finals. Represents the NBA very well. He's done a fantastic job in the league. But I'm just saying, when we thought it would be just a matter of time, he'll be back there. There's no doubt about that. You start looking at this and you're thinking, well, his foot, is he going to be fully healthy? You look at the West, is he going to stay there? It's ridiculous right now. What seemed like a predetermined situation, it doesn't look so certain anymore. It's like Tiger Woods. At 14 majors, you're like, it's just a matter of time. He's going to beat Jack. I mean, it's just going to happen. We all know it's going to. It's just a matter of time. And now all of a sudden, years and years and years go by. It doesn't look so certain anymore. So it happens. And I'm hoping that's not the case with Kevin Durant. But I don't know how his foot is going to respond to bone graft surgery. And he's had a couple of procedures in the same season. And it's one of these deals where it's like, it's minor surgery. He should be back this season. Another minor procedure, should be back this season. Now we got bone graft surgery, and he's gone for months. And I don't like where this is heading. Certainly for Oklahoma City, but even more importantly for the NBA as a whole. Something else, though, that stands out, where we're talking about college hoops and Notre Dame taking on Kentucky right now. Mike Bray made an interesting comment this week, and he said that they are America's team, at least for a day, going up against Kentucky. And I found that really fascinating because there are going to be a lot of people rooting for Notre Dame and rooting against Kentucky. And with Duke winning last night, I think there are similarities between Kentucky and Duke where people will root against success. They will resent success in a lot of ways. And I think that's fascinating. The reasons why you hate success. And if you look at Kentucky, you could point to John Calipari. A lot of people aren't completely fond of the guy. Seems to have the used car salesman thing going on there. Oh, okay, all right. If you think about Duke, for instance, people will point to secondary things. They'll point to, well, they just kind of come across as privileged or entitled or things like that. If they weren't winning as much, you wouldn't care at all. Do you say those things about kids at Harvard? Do you hate Yale hoops? You can't stand Yale just because they seem privileged and entitled? No, you don't care because they're not any good. So you don't hate them for those secondary factors. And the primary reason you hate Duke, if you hate them, is because they're highly successful. And I think that if you look at Duke, I'm not saying that those secondary factors aren't involved. They apply, but it's not the primary reason you hate them. It's not the number one reason you go after them. But if you look at another way, look at the San Antonio Spurs, highly successful but not hated. Not just pure hatred across the country. These Spurs. It's not like that. So the extra factors, they ratcheted it up for Duke. There's no doubt about it. But I still think at the end of the day, the primary reason is that they're very, very, very successful. And with Kentucky, if you're rooting against them, if, like Mike Bray said, Notre Dame becomes America's team for a day against UK, I think it's because you basically want what they have. I think it's basically a lot of jealousy where, you want your team to be as successful. And that's the way it goes. That's fine. But I think that if you investigate why you feel a certain way, I don't think about that quite a bit. I just feel a certain way. I can't stand this team. Well, why can't you stand them? What are the reasons behind it? And you might find a couple of interesting reasons if you do it. If you do, you take an introspective look. I encourage you to do that from time to time. And you might stumble onto something where it's like, it doesn't really make sense why I hate them so much because I want the same thing for my team. Therefore, I'm rooting against them to achieve it. That's, I don't know if that's the wisest thing or the best reason to be against them. 877-99 on Fox is your phone number, 877-996-6369. Coming up next, no one has brought more illegitimate heat on the NFL than this guy. I'll tell you about that. This is the No Show right here on Fox Sports Radio.
It's March Madness.
3, he switches it.
It's got a nice ring to it, right?
Oh, man, what a shot.
And for the winner, national bragging rights. March Madness. Follow all the madness.
Bang, he buries it.
On Fox Sports Radio.
Drop it like it's hot.
Geico presents Fan Mail to a Pig.
Dear Maxwell, I just want to say thank you for making my Geico Insurance ID card digital. It's easy to find on the app. It doesn't give me paper cuts, and I always have it on hand because it's on my phone. Because of this, I finally cleaned out my glove box, which was filled with years of paper ID cards. Any thought on what I should put in my glove box now? Sincerely, Trent Patterson. Trent, what can you put in the glove box? Here's a crazy thought. How about gloves?
Digital insurance ID cards, just a tap away on the Geico app.
Really? No way. Hey, I'm Eric from Sam Adams, here to get craft beer drinkers' reaction as they secretly taste Sam Adams Boston Lager. It's got a good body. It's got a great taste. It's very smooth. I like that. Think you've had this beer before?
No.
This is Sam Adams Boston Lager.
Sam Adams!
I was good at Sam Adams. That's easy to drink.
It's tasty. It's a very flavorful, drinkable beer.
Smooth, but it does have flavor. I love a Boston Lager.
What this test did is it put Sam Adams back on the map for me.
Boston Beer Company, Boston, Mass. Save responsibly.
If you're a business owner with salespeople, how in the world could you say no to this offer? The top 20% of your salespeople close 80% of the business. 80% of all sales are closed after the 5th attempt, and 83% of all salespeople don't even ask for the sale once. Did you know that close to 90% of all salespeople have never even read one sales book? How many sales are being lost each month simply because your salespeople are not professionally trained how to sell? Hi, this is Jason Evans, author of the Bright Sales Book on Closing. If you're a business owner with 2 salespeople or more and you're serious about increasing your sales, I want to invest in you and give you a free trial pass to access my multi-million-dollar sales training website that trains, tests, and tracks your salespeople. Just call us and leave us a voicemail with your email address and we'll send you your free trial pass. Call 800-250-5971. This is how to close from A to Z for any product or service, regardless of industry, whether you sell face-to-face or over the phone. Call 800-250-5971. That's 800-250-5971.
My name is Erica Olstein. I'm a doctor of acupuncture and oriental medicine at A Better You Healthcare's Pokin' for the People Community Acupuncture. Join us every Monday at 4 p.m. for a relaxing and therapeutic community acupuncture session with like-minded, health-conscious individuals from our community. Pricing is only $35. Group sessions involve yoga breathing and acupuncture for the benefit of stress, anxiety, and depression. Unwind and start your week off right. If stress is leaving you a mess, you need a checkup from the neck up. When you're feeling blue, come to A Better You. A Better You Healthcare, just behind the Paddock Mall on 27th Avenue. For further details, visit abetteryouhealthcare.com or call 615-5566. Again, that number is 615-5566.
Here's what you may have missed on the John Tesh Radio Show.
In a study involving more than 2,000 people, those with slimmer waistlines showed higher cognitive ability than those who were overweight or obese. Our pets improve our character and make us much better people. If your partner's the one who's stressed out, we know that you will be 25% more likely to be affected than a stranger would be. Yeah, be careful because stress is contagious.
Intelligence for your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
The weather is brought to you by myFWC.com. Safe boating is no accident. Saturday night, it's going to be mainly clear, then turning partly cloudy and cool. Low 46 to 51. Sunday, plenty of sunshine. High 69 to 76 degrees. Sunday night, it's going to be mainly clear and cool. Low 45 to 51. Monday is going to be delightful with plenty of sunshine. High 76 to 80 degrees. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Luis Santamaria.
Hey Ocala, this is Kelly Hart, Executive Editor of Ocala Magazine. Did you know last year Ocala Magazine won more awards in excellence than any other publication in Florida? And this year, Ocala Magazine was named Best Consumer Magazine in the state. Now you can join me every Friday at 10 a.m. on Ocala Magazine Radio, where we bring the pages of Ocala Magazine to life, right here on The Source. Ocala Magazine thanks you for making us number one. And remember, there is only one Ocala Magazine.
Legally Yours, brought to you by Fuller & Fuller Attorneys at Law. On the air every Wednesday morning at 10:30 a.m. with John Fuller, a board-certified civil trial lawyer for over 25 years. John welcomes your questions, from business to complex family matters to legal disputes. So tune in every Wednesday morning at 10:30 a.m. for Legally Yours with John Fuller, right here on WOCA 1370 AM and 96.3 FM, The Source.
Having a problem getting us? iHeartRadio. Download the iHeartRadio app on your smartphone or tablet. Find Live Station. Type in FSR.
We used to write on manual typewriters.
Let me bring this point up again.
FSR. Download the app today.
Good. That was so good.
All right, very good. Thank you. Appreciate it. Hang on one second.
Listen everywhere.
Listen to me because I'm not wrong.
See?
I can explain.
Isn't that simple?
Yes.
We are Fox Sports. Tomorrow on Fox Sports 1, Major League Soccer returns as Real Salt Lake travels north of the border to take on Toronto FC.
I love that.
Coverage begins at 7 p.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 1.
It is the No Show here on Fox Sports Radio, brought to you by Geico. What does it mean when Geico says just 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on car insurance? It means you probably should have gone to geico.com 15 minutes ago. You know, it's March Madness fever time. You know, the Irish are going toe-to-toe with Kentucky right now. So I'll get to my thought about the guy that's bringing illegitimate heat on the NFL in just a couple of minutes. But I want to go out to the phones here. The people want to talk college hoops. And on this day, we make way. Absolutely. Let me go out to Kansas City. Lana is out there. You go ahead, Lana. You're on the No Show here on Fox Sports Radio.
Hi. Thanks for taking my call. I just wanted to say that part of the reason that people dislike a really, really successful team like Kentucky is because whenever you're listening to, well, say I'm watching a game between KU and Texas 3/4 of the way through the season, all the announcers want to talk about is how great some team like Kentucky is. I don't want to hear about that. I'm watching the game I'm watching, and they go off and talk for 15, 20 minutes about how good some other team is. They do the same thing with the Yankees through the season. It's always, no matter who you're watching, they have to bring up why the Yankees are not in first place or why they are in first place or whatever.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. It's one of these where I see both sides of it. I could understand as a fan why you would be like, I'm watching Wyoming and UTEP, okay? Why are they talking about Kentucky? But it's the prettiest girl at the dance. It's the supermodel. So eventually, even if the prettiest girl isn't necessarily at the dance just yet, she's soon to arrive, you might talk about her from time to time. So I understand why the media does it. I can understand why fans don't love the serving that they get. They think it's too big of a size. I can understand that. That might go into some of the dislike or wanting them to lose and not win it all. Fair point. Let me go to Tober. He's in Orlando. Go ahead, Tober. You're on the No Show on Fox Sports Radio.
Listen to your show, by the way. Yeah, I'm a Badger fan, actually, so I'm actually trying to figure out who to cheer for in this game going on right now because, yeah, I'd actually like to see Kentucky win just so we can get our revenge game, but I know we'd probably have a much easier time if Notre Dame wins taking them on. So that's where I'm at right now.
Sure, and it's a legitimate question. Yeah. I mean, it's one of these where if you can win a championship, if it's guaranteed that you win a championship, I mean, you'd have to take the Irish. But there are no guarantees. So I know part of you wants to think, I don't want to kind of like back into a championship, if you will, or not go through Goliath. I'd like to win a championship and slay Goliath on top of it. So I can understand why you think that way. I thought that a little bit just watching Notre Dame as a fair weather fan, being from that town, with Kentucky versus West Virginia. I thought, and this took like 2 minutes for the game to be decided, I thought, yeah, I kind of like to see Kentucky be alive for Notre Dame to face instead of West Virginia. I think it's a different scenario because Wisconsin has a better chance to win a championship than Notre Dame does. So I think that changes the equation just a little bit if Wisconsin didn't have to face Kentucky. But I can understand why you would watch this game and think, I don't know. I might be okay as a Wisconsin fan with Kentucky winning. By the way, while we're talking tournament time, Aaron Rodgers was at the Wisconsin game, watching Wisconsin beat Arizona. Wisconsin punches its ticket to the Final Four again. getting by Arizona for the second straight year. Aaron Rodgers is there with Olivia Munn. I've got a question for the crew, and I think this is maybe the hardest hitting question I have come up with today. I've come up with a couple. I think this trumps everything. Olivia Munn is at the game. Ashley Judd is watching Kentucky, her beloved UK Wildcats. So I'm not comparing who's hotter. We know that it's Olivia Munn. If you were... Yes, sir! That's right. If you were to seed these lovely ladies as if they are tournament teams, what seeds would they get? Now that is a question right there. An absolute question. I don't know why I thought of it, but I thought I would just spout it out. So, Greg Bergman, producer of this program, if you were seeding these two lovely ladies, and I know you're high on Olivia Munn.
I am. But are you saying...
Do you go one seed?
Well, out of all the women in the world?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I just wasn't sure. I'm like, are you going just between the two of them? Or
no.
Of all the women? Wow. Jeez.
Yeah.
No. I wouldn't put her as a 1 seed. No, there's there's more.
There's way too many.
There's 4 1 seeds, so there's more than 4 hotter women than her.
Yes. So how far does she slide?
Jeez. But she's got that like girl next door hot.
She does, but we're talking the world here.
Right.
We got lots to choose from.
There are way too many to choose from. I probably have to drop her down. She's in probably a 3 or a 4 seed. Probably a 3 seed. I think I can put her at a 3 seed.
Yeah, I would think 4.
Yeah, 4. I think 4 is fair.
If it's the world?
Yeah, the world. Yeah, it would have to be.
Okay, Ashley Judd.
She's a little low down there.
Not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7.
Yeah, about an 8. An 8 seed.
Put her at an 8. Okay, use
Lauren,
LeBron.
perfect.
Right. Comes out as an 8. Fair enough. It's tough.
All right, Kate Beckinsale. Where would you put Kate Beckinsale in there?
Oh man, again with the world.
Yes,
that's tough. It's tough. I think you're on the right track with Olivia. I think lower makes more sense. It sounds bad. It sounds like we're overlooking and diminishing her great beauty. If you say she's a 5, she's a 6 seed, but you're talking the world here. You're talking about movie stars, musicians, models, all the.
Yeah, well, most of the models are probably when they're not having the makeup on, they're probably around a 12 seed. So.
Okay, but we'll grade them on makeup.
All right.
I'll grade them on makeup. But the serious portion of this segment, I want to get to something halfway serious here. I love having fun. I love doing this stuff, the random off-the-wall conversations, the guy talk from time to time. But there was something, Michael Sam, he made some interesting comments. He was in Dallas, and he delivered a speech, and there was a Q&A session. And a couple of these comments stood out to me. Now, I'm not going to drag this out because you've heard the Michael Sam storyline for a long time, but there's a point to be made, and it's not going to take very long. He mentioned, quote, "I am not the only gay person in the NFL. I'm just saying there's a lot of us. I respect the players that did reach out to me and had the courage to tell me that they were also gay, but they did not have the same courage, as do I, to come out before I even played it down in the NFL." End quote. I don't like the chestiness at the end where they didn't have the courage of me. But the point is, there are, as he says, many other gay players. And he goes on to say some famous people that are gay in the NFL, which, that's their preference. That's their sexual orientation. Okay. But here's the deal. For anybody who says, oh, well, Michael Sam doesn't have a gig in the NFL specifically because of his sexual orientation, because he's openly gay. Do you think that these quote-unquote famous players that are, let's just say, highly productive, that if they came out and announced what their sexual orientation is, they would be cut, no questions asked, like, bye, see ya, gone? No, they would still have a job. It is not personal. It's just about production. Michael Sam will say these things, he went on, and he'll kind of point to, is this discrimination? And then say, but it's not. And I don't know that he completely believes it. He says, hopefully I'm not being discriminated against because I'm gay. I don't believe that I'm being discriminated against because I'm gay. I just want to know if I'm truly not in the NFL, it's because of talent. Let it be because of my talents, but you've got to prove that I can't play this game. If you look at the film, clearly I can, so I'll leave it at that, end quote. It's like, okay, so you're not being discriminated against. But if I read between the lines, you seem to be indicated that you might be being discriminated against. It's one of these, listen, you can criticize the NFL for plenty of reasons. The way it handled the Ray Rice case, Deflategate, on and on and on. Being critical of the NFL because Michael Sam isn't in it, that's silly. That's not a reason to be critical of the NFL. It's illegitimate heat. And I'm not criticizing Michael Sam for his lifestyle. I'm just saying there's a misperception that he's being ousted because of it. That's not the reason. It's strictly production-based. There are plenty of Heisman winners that get ousted because they're not productive. That's it. It is production-based. And there's example after example of guys that have shaky things in their past. Greg Hardy just got picked up by the Dallas Cowboys. PR hit. They had the mayor speaking out about it. They're still going to take a chance because he can get it done on the field. It's the way it goes. So, I know, an odd transition from seeding hot women in our fictitious NCAA bracket to Michael Sam and serious stuff. But, it's a hodgepodge here on the No Show. We take the scenic route. Coming up next, we talk some college hoops with our guy Chris Monter. We'll break it all down for us here on the No Show. But first, let's find out what's trending.
Undefeated Kentucky is trailing late in the first half to Notre Dame, 24-21. Just over 3 minutes to go in this first half of play. The Wildcats just 7 of 21 shooting from the floor. Actually, one more rebound for the Irish than the tall Kentucky team. The West Regional Final went to Wisconsin, 85-78 over Arizona.
Decker out high on the bounce to the right side. Gets the step driving on Johnson. Banks it home. Yes! And a foul! Yes, it counts!
That was the second half story. Sam Decker had 27 points on the day. 20 in the second half, including 5 of 5 from three-point range. Westwood won NCAA Radio Network. Wisconsin back to the Final Four. Texas will reportedly fire Rick Barnes as head coach. NBA, Atlanta rested its starters tonight and lost at Charlotte. Joey Logano won today's trucks race at Martinsville. Kyle Larson fainted during an autograph session, was taken to the hospital. NASCAR's Cup race will be on Fox Sports 1 tomorrow. I'm Steve DeSager.
We are Fox Sports! Tomorrow on Fox Sports 1, Katie Nolan returns with her new weekly show, Garbage Time. Cool. Katie will give her take on the week's top stories and host celebrity guests. Garbage Time airs Sunday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, only on Fox Sports 1.
It is the No Show, coming to you live from the Geico Fox Sports Radio studios. It's easy to save 15% or more on car insurance with Geico. Go to geico.com or call 800-947-AUTO. The only hard part, figuring out which way is easier. Joining us on the Progressive Insurance Celebrity Hotline from collegebasketballnews.com, our guy Chris Monter joins us again, second straight week because he broke it down so well last week. Chris, first question for you. What stands out to you so far in this Kentucky game? Notre Dame holding its own first half. Are you just awaiting that 10-point barrage by Kentucky at any point?
Yeah, you definitely always have to worry about that, especially after watching how they were able to just ambush, basically, West Virginia. But I thought Notre Dame was the type of team, they're a very smart, heady team, maybe not loaded with athletes, but have great shooters. Grant and Jackson, I think, are very good guards who know how to distribute the ball. So I thought this would actually be a pretty competitive game. So I'm not really surprised to see it be this way. You think eventually that Kentucky, just because they have so much depth, so much size, can maybe pull away. But you have to give Notre Dame and Coach Ray a lot of credit for how well they played in the first half.
It's interesting because it seems like Notre Dame is actually attacking the strength of Kentucky, one of their main strengths, arguably their biggest, which is their great height. And Notre Dame is attacking the rim. It's not like they're shying away and shooting from outside. Can you see this if Notre Dame isn't successful today, where other teams will try to do similar things against Kentucky?
Yeah, you would think maybe teams will look at that because you look at what happened against West Virginia. They basically could not score inside, It seemed like Kentucky blocked more shots than baskets that were scored by West Virginia inside. So teams usually have been fearful just because they're such a long team with Towns and Cauley Stein and Lee and and Johnson. They have so much size that teams are leery of that. But, they've done a good job of trying to create. And, again, I think that is a good strategy, because if you're not going to be able to score inside, if, the other defenders back off their shooters, they got so many good shooters that just like to line up behind the three-point line. If you all of a sudden have a guy who peels off an outside shooter, a Jackson or a Grant can kick it out to the three-point shooter and hopefully get an easy basket. So I think it's a pretty smart strategy. You wonder how long it'll work, because Kentucky, again, can overwhelm you with that size.
He's Chris Monter from collegebasketballnews.com here on the No Show. This is Fox Sports Radio. When you look at Arizona going down for the second straight year against Wisconsin, what's the main reason they lost again?
I thought they should have maybe tried to and get Kaminsky a little more foul trouble. Kaminsky did end up getting 4 fouls, but I thought they should have tried to kick it in a little bit better. Obviously, Kaminsky had a great game, and so did Decker, especially in the second half with all the threes. But, Kaminsky had a big game, really got, Arizona's front court players in foul trouble. And both teams, neither of them really are very deep. They basically only go about seven deep, but I thought that really hurt Arizona with Johnson and some of the other players getting in foul trouble. And, again, I think they should have tried to do more to try and get Wisconsin in foul trouble. The other thing, I thought Arizona maybe tried to pick up the pressure a little too late in the game. Maybe should have done that a little bit earlier, try and wear down Wisconsin a little bit, because, again, they're not a real deep team. But, you give Arizona a lot of credit. The one knock on teams against Arizona or against Wisconsin was Wisconsin didn't foul a lot. They didn't go to the line a lot, but yet Arizona did a good job of getting to the line. But, again, Wisconsin just really, really hot, especially from the three-point range. Decker on fire in that second half, and that was really the big key. Him and Kaminsky, I think combined for 56 points. So obviously those two really stood out in that game.
Something we just threw out there just a few minutes ago, Chris. I threw out a question where what would be more memorable, thinking 10, 20 years in the future, if Notre Dame were to beat Kentucky today, or if another team that's not Kentucky, not Notre Dame, wins the national championship? Would it be more memorable for Notre Dame to take down Kentucky while Duke wins the national championship? What do you think would be more memorable, and what would stick with fans over the course of time?
Yeah, that'd be interesting, because Notre Dame, maybe doesn't have a great tradition recently, but I'm old enough to remember, unfortunately, I was a big UCLA fan growing up. They knocked UCLA's long winning streak out. I remember when University of San Francisco was really good with Bill Cartwright, and they had several other players that went on to play in the NBA. They lost to Notre Dame at home. So Notre Dame has had kind of that reputation in basketball of being a team that can, snap long streaks. And obviously, we have a 37-game winning streak. We haven't seen a streak that long for a long, long time. So obviously that would be pretty memorable. You're right. I think a lot of people either want Kentucky to lose or they want them to go 40-0. There's kind of a fairly even split. But I think there's some teams, obviously I thought Arizona was a team that could possibly beat Kentucky. I still think Wisconsin's a team that can match up well with them, and I think Duke can beat them as well. And obviously Notre Dame fans have to feel, based on how well they played in the first half, that they can definitely stay with them. So I don't think it's a lock that Kentucky is going to win the title. I have them winning it, but I think there are some teams that still can play well and can give Kentucky all they can handle.
When you look at the two games tomorrow, you look at Louisville taking on Michigan State and also Duke and Gonzaga. What are some of the key points to look at in both of those games?
Well, I think Gonzaga has really impressed people. I think a lot of people always doubt Gonzaga because they haven't been as successful maybe as their seedings have been in the past. But this year I think it's a much more balanced team with Pangos and Baum. The backcourt, you have great size with Sabonis and Wilcher in the front court. So they're not a team that relies on one player like maybe they did in the past with Adam Morrison and when they've had great players. This year is a very much more balanced and a very big physical team. So they have the size that can match up with Okafor. I think Duke probably wins that game, but it'll be a close game. I just think they're maybe a little too athletic. Winslow really stepped up. Okafor didn't have a great game last night. You figure he's going to probably break out of that, although I think, again, Gonzaga has some size. I think that Michigan State-Louisville game will be interesting. No high seeds, obviously, in terms of 1s, 2s, and 3s, but two teams in Louisville and Michigan State that always seem to be in the mix every year, and I give Michigan State a lot of credit. They were only a 7th seed, but they're a team that got better as the season progresses, and that seems what Tom Izzo teams always seem to do. In Louisville, Coach Pitino lost one of his best players, Chris Jones, in February. They really struggled that month. We're just 4-4. You kind of wondered how well they would do, but Snyder, I think, has been a real key as a freshman coming off the bench and now becoming a starter, has been a really key player for them down the stretch.
All right, now, Chris, I've got some harebrained theories from time to time, some ideas. You tell me if this is another one of them, but I do honestly think this makes some sense. Meta World Peace threw his name in the hat for the St. John's opening. Now, I'm not saying hire him as the head coach, but whomever the head coach is, would it make sense just to investigate whether Meta World Peace would be interested in being an assistant in some capacity, namely for recruiting? He went to the school. You need to get the recruits. If he can relate to players very well, would it be something worth investigating at the least?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, St. John's, unfortunately, really hasn't been on the radar all that much. I think, Coach Lavin tried to get that program turned around, had some good recruits, just didn't really pan out. And, of course, he had some health problems as well. But you're right. I think they're definitely going to look at some names from St. John's past history. And I guess Ron Artest or World Meta Peace, you have to look at Chris Mullen. I know his name's been mentioned, Mark Jackson. The question is, can they ever be what they were? And I think that's somewhat similar to what's going on with DePaul. DePaul, had that tradition with Coach Meyer and great players like Mark McGuire, Terry Cummings, players like that, but have never been the same. And I think that, unfortunately, that's the same with St. John's. But I definitely think, out-of-the-box type thinking isn't the craziest. And I think, that's definitely a person that they should at least talk to.
I love it, Chris. Anytime you agree with me, we got to have you back on. You know what I'm saying, Chris?
You can never be too crazy or too out of the box for me. You're good.
Oh, that's good. That's good to hear, Chris. Well, hey, great stuff as always. Enjoy the rest of the tournament. We'll catch up with you soon, okay?
I look forward to it. Thanks again. Enjoy the game.
Absolutely. You too. That is Chris Monter of collegebasketballnews.com. Yeah, man, you got to think outside the box a little bit. St. John's not exactly the capital of college basketball right now. So Meta World Peace as a recruiter, it's worth investigating, worth checking that out. All right, the Irish toe-to-toe with the mighty Kentucky Wildcats, tied at 31 apiece at halftime. We close the showdown in style. Make way for Arnie Spanier. Coming up, love is sometimes understandably blind. Tell you about that. This is the No Show right here on Fox Sports Radio.
Didn't this season just end?
The Giants have won the World Series.
Well, it's back.
Deep left field, and that is gone.
From spring training to the start of the 2015 MLB season.
The first pitch, and we're underway.
We've got it covered on Fox Sports Radio.
You've walked through 18 open houses. Your feet hurt and your head is buzzing. Living in a van is starting to sound strangely appealing. But then you hear it. The sound of hope, of Zillow. You glance at your phone to see a 3-bedroom Craftsman in the right school district. It's perfect, and it just showed up on your phone, like magic. So sign up for mobile alerts, and we'll send you homes that fit your criteria when they hit the market. And to think, you wanted to live in a van. Zillow. Find your way home.
Like the taste of fresh apples? Try an Angry Orchard hard cider. At Angry Orchard, we believe in tradition. That's why we use apples from a 100-year-old orchard. It takes 2 apples to make each bottle of Angry Orchard. So raise a glass to a time when apples were best served in a pint glass. Angry Orchard, when you're looking for something a little different. Crisp, refreshing, and not too sweet. Just like me. Angry Orchard hard cider. Branch out.
Angry Orchard Cider Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Drink responsibly.
Whether you're building it up or knocking it down, get it done, rent it now. Sunbelt Rentals is here to make your job a little easier. Our knowledgeable staff will help you find the right equipment for any job, big or small. Did you know that Sunbelt Rentals carries heaters, air conditioners, generators, lighting, traffic control, and so much more? So whether you're building it up or knocking it down, we've got the equipment you need. Get it done, rent it now. And right now, for a limited time, you can have it for less. Just by mentioning this ad, if you rent it Friday afternoon, you can keep it the whole weekend and only pay for one day. But this is a limited time offer, so stop into Sunbelt Rentals today, Northwest 27th, just a quarter mile east of I-75. For more information, just give us a call, 352-369-9101. 352-369-9101. Sunbelt Rentals. Get it done, rent it now. 352-369-9101.
You've got a garden and we've got a show for you called You've Got a Garden with your host, Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin. Carol Ann answers your questions about your flowers, your veggies, your grass, your trees, even questions about your bugs. And she's only on WOCA, so don't miss Carol Ann Baldwin and You've Got a Garden each Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here on WOCA The Source.
Gene Powell Pasture Mowing. Our tractor services include bush hog, disking, front-end loader, box blade, and stump grinding. We also have zero-turn mowers for the smaller paddocks, aisleways, fence rows, and lawn care. Fence row spraying is also available for weed control. We are licensed and insured. Gene Powell Pasture Mowing, 352-629-2440, or online at powellgene, Gene, at yahoo.com. Gene Powell Pasture Mowing.
Here's what you may have missed on the John Tesh Radio Show.
In a study involving more than 2,000 people, those with slimmer waistlines showed higher cognitive ability than those who were overweight or obese. Our pets improve our character and make us much better people. If your partner's the one who's stressed out, we know that you will be 25% more likely to be affected than a stranger would be. Yeah, be careful because stress is contagious.
Intelligence for your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
Hey, I'm Gary. And I'm Eric. Did you know that Red Eye Radio is on WOCA The Source every night from 2 to 6 a.m. and it's live?
That's right. No tape shows here.
We know that the news doesn't sleep.
And neither do we. So we're here with you live from 2 till 6 a.m. every weekday. Call us 866-90-RED-EYE. So join me, Gary McNamara.
And me, Eric Harley, every weeknight to discuss the latest in news and entertainment.
Right here on WOCA The Source.
Hey, Matt, I know Sunrise Automotive does auto stuff, but I need some tires for my truck. Can you recommend someone?
Yes, I can. We do that.
No, I mean, I need them installed and balanced and all that.
Yep, we do that.
Well, my son needed his windows tinted.
Yep, we do that.
I need my seat replaced.
Yep, we do that too.
I need a new roof line, and a new spoiler, and a new trunk.
We can even do that too.
Okay, I get it. I suppose you can also do a radio show too, huh?
Well, as a matter of fact, join me every Monday at 10 for auto repair with personal care here on The Source.
Of course you do.
Good credits, bad credits. It's none of our business because we're not an auto dealer. We're not a bank. We're not your mother. We're OcalaForSale.com. Marion County's marketplace for cars, trucks, and SUVs. We've got thousands of sellers standing by to take your call. No middleman. But hurry, don't walk, don't run. Just sit down and log on to OcalaForSale.com. Prices and inventory change daily. Offer does not include dealer upcharge. Undercutting, rust-proofing, factory surcharge, or delivery fee. See website for details.
We are The Source, WOCA, news, talk, sports, and more.
When you miss your favorite show,
that's bad. That's really bad.
Relax. There's no need to go crazy.
Are you mental? That was a definite crazy one right there.
Just podcast it. It's real easy.
This is a simple solution.
Go to FoxSportsRadio.com. FoxSportsRadio.com. Click listen. Then click podcast.
Everything neatly falls into place.
All of your favorite shows are just a click away.
We are Fox Sports.
Fox Sports 1. Spring is almost here, and that means the Major League Baseball season is returning to Fox Sports 1. Saturday, April 11th, the Red Sox take on the Yankees at 12:30 p.m. Eastern, followed by the Royals against the Angels at 9 p.m. Eastern, only on Fox Sports 1.
It is the No Show here on Fox Sports Radio. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance at geico.com. So I have a theory, and it's another one of my